Hello, my name is Marcus. I'm the compiler of a collection of therapy quotes entitled 1001 Windmills of the Mind, a collection of advanced self help quotes taken from what's often called the psychodynamic or the psychoanalytic perspective, which long ago, as I understand, was referred to by some as philosophical medicine or narrative medicine, helping one to bring themselves, find themselves, and bring themselves back to themselves or bring their soul back to their body. That's a dramatic way of saying it. So, meaning we're born with a certain quality of beingness at home within an ontological a sense of self, and a sense of embodiment like that. But with babyhood trauma, that gets frozen, sent away, and this can be symbolized in myths and fairy tales like Snow White in a coffin, Rapunzel in the tower, the Maiden King. She turns into a swan and flies away. Miss Core gets pulled down. Joy and sadness for the feeling part gets souped away, or the golden ball goes down the well. Iron John, the golden ball, are locked in a cage. And so our beingness at home within quality, um, the child flash freezes it and sends it away. So we had it, got exiled, want to get it back. This exiled part of us, that's really mainly us. I mean, that's a huge part of us. This is the part of us that lets us feel pleasure in the present, lets us mourn losses, and lets us have affection and tenderness and creativity and spontaneity and play to be empathy and make reparation and have understanding and see the third side of the coin. The quote unquote regular, more human side of being human is there, in particular. So we had this sense of beingness called the feminine principle, the feminine element, okay, whatever you want to call it, the yin, the shakti, okay, this quality of beingness. So the baby's born with it. We're born whole. We're born embodied. Like we're born embodied. Put it that way. We're kind of born embodied, and this feeling of being embodied, symbolized by the golden sun. So we kind of radiate in a kind of warm shine like the sun. We kind of feel a little bit like the sun, hence the golden ball image. And joy and sadness represent that as well. These are the primary feelings of our beingness. So joy runs the console. That's the normal state of affairs, that joy runs the console, the serene, inexhaustible fullness of being. So joy runs the console like that. And sadness can be there during the times when there are losses, because we have the capacity to admit a loss. Although the joy for which you pray is 100 tears away, so we can't admit a loss. It's a natural response to loss. So because the beingness isn't there, the beingness is needed for the sadness to be there. If the beingness is not there, you can't have the sadness there. That's complicated grief, aggravated grief, the derailment of the grief process, melancholia, pathological nostalgia. The pathological nostalgia, that's a defense against the inability to mourn. So you go back in the past, imagine some blissful time in the past, and kind of go back like that in a bubble in your past or something, make it up like that, or trigger up some fantasies where it felt safe in the past. Okay, pathological nostalgia. So yeah. By the way, the Happy Days episode, um, um, season 11, episode 14, entitled "The Spirit Is Willing," about the fawn spying a haunted car. It's sort of like that. Yeah, he didn't want to face the pain of making a decision about leaving the adolescent kind of world or something. Should he get married? Should he open his own business, or be on his own more? So he had to kind of make some painful, difficult decisions about his life. But he's so one way to get away from that kind of pain, to escape from that kind of pain, whether it's admitting mortality, whether it's the need to mourn or grow up, whether it's to make decisions if it's too painful, whether to face something that's difficult. Well, one way to deal with that, well, just retreat to the time when you're in a blissful place. So that can be accomplished by creating fantasies of an unmet dream in the past, which, if it were fulfilled, it would be the fantasy that you're back in the uterus, one with the mother, and that's why we have a hard time with living sometimes, because we didn't get those basic needs met. So we kind of go back to that kind of place and see if we can get those needs met. Or the baby was in a safe place in the uterus, for example, so he was in a blissful kind of place like that. So you can, but maybe there wasn't enough like that. So you want to go back to that, and my regular spot's occupied, so luckily for the time being, it's quiet here. So Yeah, I'm still experimenting with this new phone here. My regular phone kind of died on me. I just got this new budget phone. See how it goes here. Odd thing about this phone, it has the function to blot out background noises. So I went to the Swan Place just before coming here, and sure, fully booked. I couldn't use it. But yesterday I was at the mall, and I noticed it worked there. The background noises in the mall were kind of muffled. So it has a strange feeling. So I got to get used to this kind of thing. Okay, enough about the boring tech issue here. So let's. Um, so we were talking about um, pathological nostalgia. So if we have our beingness, then we can accept the loss and we can mourn and express our grief, and that's called mourning. And then joy can come back, and we can be in the present, enjoy the present, and live in the present, and move forward like that. And creativity, spontaneity, play, affection, tenderness, um, and the full new delights of life and new creativity in life. And you're in the present, so your temperament is in the present, reality based. Um, Meaning we're all one big wounded family, homo traumicus, called homo traumicus, homo sapien traumicus. So you recognize, gee, everyone loves, or they're in pain and they cry for love because we're traumatized. We cry for love, and you're curious and you wonder, when people cry for love, sometimes it's very coded. Sometimes people cry for love. To understand people, they might cry for love in a very coded way. So they might cry for love by saying, um, I'm let me show you what happened to me when I cry for love. I'll imagine someone else playing me who needs love. I'll be the mother who said no to me. They'll play me. I'll say no to them. And that's me showing you what my mother did to me. So I don't cry for love directly. I find proxies to cry for love on my behalf. I play the mother because due to the pain, I became her in a thing called Faustian bargain, Faustian pact, Faustian um, um, deal, whatever it's called, known as identification with the aggressor. So one thing the baby does if there's too much pain, he just crosses over and becomes like the mother. And then you've got to sell a soul, literally, because to have the mother, he's got to mimic her and be her. What did the mother do? Shame the baby, hurt the baby. So hurt the baby's soul, he got to hurt his own soul. So too much pain, so the way to cope with that is he'll find proxies, and he'll think that the proxy is his soul. So when he's shaming others, he's shaming himself, but it's an attention of the mind. Your attention flies out. So blaming, externalization, scapegoating, your attention is out like that. Externalized living. That makes you unaware that you're shaming yourself. So that's how they're communicating what happened to them. It's called a negative magic gesture. They want to show up the mother. They want to tell the world what the mother did to them. They want to say, look, I became my mother. I'll show you what my mother did to me because I'll act like her. Okay, now let me find someone to play me, and I'll show you what she did to me. I'll be her, that other person's me, and see with my negative attitudes, my dark humor, shaming humor, spiteful humor like that, or negative opinions about them, my prejudice against them like that. Well, my mother did those kinds of things to me. I'm showing her up. I'm exposing her. I'm in protest mode. That's their kind of way to cry for love, to find a proxy to cry for love on their behalf, and then they cry for love for them, and they just show you the pain around what happened when they originally cried for love because they identified with the aggressor and they recreated it as a kind of communication for themselves and to others. So it's kind of like it's not like it's just a desperate communication to communicate what happened, and it's very coded like that. So if you're in that kind of mode, that we realize that we're all one family, we're all members of Homo traumicus. Okay? We're only one sapien. Only one hominid grew the cortex. That's Homo sapien, right? Only one hominid grew the cortex. There's no right, and then that was roughly 200,000 years ago. If we go by the script writer for the science fiction film called Forbidden Planet, 1956 film, The Forbidden Planet. Um, they made a reference to um, we Homo sapiens. Um, well, our previous version of us was Homo bodoensis by one theory, and then we grew the cortex about 200,000 years ago, and that's their reference. 200,000 years ago, that's when we started with the Homo sapien. So we're all from that one hominid from the Nile River Valley area, and then we spread around and all that after that. And then while we settled in different places, um, roughly 10,000 years ago, while we were in different places, we mismanaged our discoveries and accidentally, inadvertently traumatized ourselves due to the mismanagement of our discoveries. So now we're all traumatized, but we're in these pockets all around the world, kind of thing. But we're still from that same family. That's the confusion. So, and when you're traumatized, you project and you blame and externalize, and then you got these issues like this. But um, and what confuses the matter is that while people settled in different places, there were trivial biological variations over time. So, okay, so that's for example, how much sun exposure people were exposed to. So for a long time, over 100,000 years or whatever, it's bound to be the case that um, there's a now we know there's a chemical called melanin that's kind of responsible for the color of our hair, eyes, and skin tone. And it's not about okay. So if the melanin dissipates, um, quote unquote, lose your tan, so to speak, there may be these kind of superficial cosmetic variations. The hair color might change, the eye color might change, and the tone might change due to the amount of melanin in the skin, right? So apparently there's a range between 1 and 6, um, 6 being the maximum, so that's the shade of brown, okay, and the least amount of melanin, that's a shade of beige. Nobody has white or black skin. Forget this nonsense. I don't know why people keep still doing that. Nobody has white skin or black skin. Jane Elliott, go to Jane Elliott on YouTube. Nobody, there's white, right? At the corner, that's white. Nobody, and black, right? So here's black, right? There's no, did we get it in? There's no, nobody has white skin or black skin. This is nonsense. Our skin tone is based on how much melanin there is. So if there's less melanin, because not enough sun, so you compensate like that or adjust accordingly. It's superficial, trivial, cosmetic, biological, cosmetic variation that we some people lost a tan. Really big deal. We lost a tan. So instead of having the normal or the regular or the original shade of brown tone of skin, we all begin with a shade of brown tone of skin. Nobody has black skin. Everybody's got a shade of brown tone of skin. But when the melanin dissipates, the shade of brown turns more into a shade of beige. Jane Elliott argues that technically speaking, the shade of beige is a kind of shade of brown. So we still have basically a shade of brown if you include a shade of beige being a shade of brown. And somebody complained, what about these very pale types? Well, Janoff says if people are traumatized, the blood might be diverted to the vital organs, so there'll be less blood in the skin, so it looks palish like that. But it's still not white. It's just palish. It's a shade of beige with less blood, so it looks kind of palish. It's still not white. This is what nobody has white skin. Right? This is trivial, very trivial stuff. And maybe diet, and make people tolerate more dairy and milk, whatever it means, like that. And I don't know about the weather if that affects our personality, temperament. I don't know. Some people say that, but anyways, the main thing is we're still the same. We're from the same hominid. We're all Homo sapiens, sapien like that. We spread around trivial biological variant. But the confusion is 10,000 years ago when we roughly became traumatized. Um, uh, Roughly 10,000 years ago, then we all pretty much became Homo traumicus. One guy calls it Homo economicus, Homo short sellicus, Homo secret psychoticus, Homo dysfunctionalicus, Homo neuroticus, Homo anxieticus, um, whatever you want to call it. We became a traumatized version of ourselves. Out of convenience, I've simply been saying Homo traumicus. So we're still Homo sapiens, but we're a traumatized version of ourselves. So we're still Homo sapiens, but we're a traumatized version of ourselves. So I'm just saying Homo traumicus. So we're all Homo traumicus by this theory here. Okay. Now, it it's nothing to do with skin tone, um, um, but it seems to be again big question mark here. Maybe the way babies were raised, um, the, that's going to cause the trauma. There'll be more trauma if babies are more traumatized. So if it's the case that let's say 20% of the babies experience more severe trauma at birth. They were removed or whatever, separated the cord and placenta. That'll do it. Ignore the babies, whatever. If there's more, if the ways, if the way we raise babies changed, okay, to the point where so there was more pain inflicted on babies. If that's the case, um, I don't know. Again, I don't know why, but if it's the case that maybe in the colder places with less sun, um, it needed to be that the mothers or the fathers traumatized their babies for whatever unknown reason to me. I don't know. Nothing to do with the sun like that. I, okay, um, so let's say um, the people, people in the colder places, maybe there was more harder living or something. I don't know. Again, I don't know. So it seemed to be. I'm just guessing here. It seemed to be maybe that um, um, if there's more trauma with the babies, that's more pain. That's more of a when there's more pain, that means there's more of a compulsion to make the Faustian bargain, i.e., identification of the aggressor. So the baby's going to perceive the mother as being very rejecting, very hurtful. Baby's going to think, okay, that mother robbed his home. Remember the beingness? That's like a home within, his embodiment, like in your body, embodiment, like a home within. Mother robbed him. Mother was a robber baron. Mother was a short seller. Mother pillaged the baby's soul. Okay, now that's a lot of pain like this to lose your soul like this. Okay, now again, it's flown away. It's not totally lost, it's just exiled, but it's a pain to be so alienated from your soul. So one way to cope with this situation is that since all babies need some link to the mother, if the only link to the mother is to be her, some babies make that Faustian deal, Faustian bargain, Faustian pact. They cross over like that in a thing called identification of the aggressor. Okay, that means they don't want to feel that mother's rejecting them and pillaging them. So they'll become the pillager, basically, okay, to themselves. At least they feel some kind of agency or some kind of way to, in advance, anticipate the pain because they're going to hurt themselves so they know, so they can prepare themselves. It seems to be somewhat a defensive way the baby chooses to minimize the pain because if he's going to hurt himself the way his mother hurt him, at least he's the one doing it instead of his mother doing it so he can um, be prepared for a little bit like that. I don't know. So he's got some kind of sense of some kind of um, way to lessen the pain, but more importantly, to have some connection to the mother. The only way to have a mother is to sell a soul. That's the only way to have a mother is to sell a soul. That's the Faustian deal. So if that's going to take place. How does the baby live doing this? I mean, he crossed over because of the pain. He's going to hurt himself again. He can't know it. Enter another defense mechanism. Okay, so that's now he's got to scapegoat, prejudice, project, blame, externalize, find others to represent him, okay, and plunder their soul, or treat them badly the way the mother treated him badly, to make him unaware that he's treating himself badly the way his mother treated him badly because he's the mother who treats himself badly. So to not be aware of it, he finds proxies to play him and treats them badly. That distracts him of how he's treating himself badly. So they need people to hate and shame, so they don't feel that they're hating and shaming themselves. This is the perverse deal that goes on. Now, if this is more of the tendency in certain areas of the world, wherever we settle down, if this took place wherever it was, and by chance that's the place where there was less sun, so the skin tone varied. Okay. Now, when the baby's traumatized, he thinks his mother um, was envious of his goodness. That he had a goodness, mother's envious of it. Okay, envy means hatred of the good. Mother hated the baby's goodness, so now he's got to rob goodness to have a mother. Okay, so now if he identifies with the aggressor, okay, and he thinks the mother hated his goodness and plundered him, pillaged him, gave him poverty and shame like that, and pollution and shame, poverty, misery like this, he becomes the aggressor. Now he's got to think like the aggressor. So that's a template. He'll go through life. Whenever he sees goodness, okay, he's got to be envious of it and rob it. He'll be the plunderer, he'll be the pillager, he'll be the short seller, and not care and give others poverty to reflect his emotional poverty. So now he feels the mother plundered his soul. He becomes the plunderer. Enter, um, enter prejudice. Okay? So if others are less traumatized, that might be seen as a source of envy because that's good that they were less traumatized. Envy, envy. So now they want to wreck the goodness of those who are less traumatized. So let's say people in other places maintain more or less the traditional child rearing ways where mother nursed their babies, held their babies, and gave their babies a level of safety and comfort and soothing, nursed the babies, held the babies, let them feel safe and warm and a blissful bosom, kind of experience sweetness, mother's tenderness, mother's warmth, normal traditional way. So they're going to have more goodness like that, and they're going to maybe develop more, and they'll have their identity more. So they got some kind of goodness, and they became different from the mother, and now they're seen as different. Okay, so others are seen as different. Okay, now enter the prejudice idea. So if the top 20% of the most traumatized, let's just say those are the shaded beige tone of skin, okay, see others who were loved, and at the same time they have more of a shade of brown tone of skin, okay, then um, out of a shortcut or out of convenience or shortcut, they'll just say, hey, wait a minute, those people with the shade of brown tone of skin, I don't know why that is. I don't know what it is, but they have some kind of goodness. They were loved. I got to rob that goodness. Um, okay. Now they're on the land. They have a home. Well, I got to rob their home because mother robbed my home. Mother plundered my embodiment. They live on a land. I got to plunder their land, pillage their place as a reflection of my inner state. As above, so below. So in repetition compulsion, we repeat, repeat, repeat. So when you're repeating, okay, you see outwardly your innocence and goodness, which those of the shade of brown tone of skin would possess. Okay, and you treat them the way your mother treated you. Okay, so you see others with the shade of brown tone of skin or the other 80%, okay, as having some kind of goodness in some way, shape, or form, because they were loved more in a more traditional way of raising babies. Okay, so that's goodness, envy, hatred of the good. No, I can't see it, can't tolerate it. The only way, 20% are saying, the only way to have a mother, the only way to feel safe, the only way to have a mother. Once again, no baby would make it without a mother. They got to have a mother. So to have a mother, they got to do what she did. She's got to hate goodness. So she'll say, so these people, so okay, the 20%, let's say, we'll say to the 80%, gee, there's goodness over there. I see goodness over there. I gotta rob it. I gotta damage it. I gotta destroy it. Mother gave me poverty like this, and I gotta damage it and give them poverty. So now you got 80% of the people in poverty as a reflection of the inner poverty in the 20%. So the most traumatized of the most traumatized, say the top 20% of the most traumatized, they got the most energy, the most compulsion, the most drive, the most um, all of their energy, really, right? Like they got all of their energy. It's just this panic compulsion to repeat. Once again, when we repeat, there's the illusion that when we repeat, we can change the past, undo the past, get mother's love in the past, correct the past. So you're repeating, and a part of the brain doesn't know time. The limbic system doesn't know time. Iguanas and salamanders, they don't know time. That part of the brain also, like them, don't know time. So you're kind of doing this infinite loop, this seared loop. And that's the theory about trauma. We repeat, hoping for a better outcome. Now, how do you repeat? Well, 20% say, hey, look, the 80%. They got a lot of goodness, say. They were loved and all that. Look, and some of them even got loved to have their identity. Whoa, wow. That means they got mother. I never got mother. They got mother because they're different from the mother. I never got different from them. I am the mother. I crossed over. They didn't cross over. So that means they got goodness. Okay, so envy is hatred of the good. So now enter prejudice. You'll make some excuse um, called the principle of discovery, the slogan of discovery, or quote unquote doctrine of discovery. Give me a break. And they'll just create some rationalization, some pompous, arrogant thing to say. Well, from now on, we the most traumatized of the most traumatized. Okay, we were plundered. Our soul was plundered. We were given emotional poverty. Okay, we identified with the robber baron mother, the short seller pillaging mother. So we, the 20% like this, with this psychology, from now on, whenever we see goodness, it's ours. When we see resources, it's ours. When we see land, it's ours. From now on, if we find that it's ours, don't care about you. Mother didn't care about us. We're not going to care about you. Okay? She gave me poverty, so you'll get poverty. She polluted me, we'll pollute you. Okay? She took away, didn't give me proper food, so we'll deprive you of food. We'll poison your soil and water, and you'll eat garbage, basically, because we had to suffer garbage with the mother. So as above, so below. So and plus, if the when the mother pillaged the baby's soul, that's a timeless thing. Okay, so this is when we entered into, from village to pillage. So 10,000 years ago, we entered into a mode called global pillage from global village prior. So in the global pillage mode, it's timeless. So in order to pillage, okay, the baby had to hand over his goods to the mother, his resources to mother. She got some pleasure, some comfort, some pain relief, some narcissistic supply. She used the baby as a breast for her, as a comfort for her. So she pillaged the baby's soul continuously like this. Okay. So when you identify with the aggressor, and you want the resources handed over to you. You want to plunder the planet for a quick buck. You pillage the planet for a quick buck. Okay, so somebody said, well, you need a pool of poorly paid workers. So the 20% were given emotional poverty. So just demand, okay, all you 80%, um, we aggressively demand that you hand over your stuff. Okay, so so we're gonna make you poor. We're more angry, so we got more aggression for this focus like that. You're peaceful people. You don't want, so you're kind of easy like that. Um, so we're gonna force you to hand over your stuff. Okay. When I was a baby, I had to hand over my soul to my mother, my treasure, my gold, my beauty, who I'd be had I been loved, who I'd be had I, were I properly loved. I never became what I was supposed to become. I had to give that to my mother. That's like my beingness is a huge resource. It's a golden ball. It's a treasure. All right, so all the gold out there, all the resources, all the value out there, you got to hand it over. So all you 80%, you're going to be poor. Hand over the stuff. Okay, that's a reflection of the original template of what the mother, of what took place, of what went down between the baby and the mother. Baby was plundered and pillaged to the mother. Now we're into this endless loop of plundering and pillaging the planet for a quick buck. So the 20% used the slogan, well, if we the most traumatized of the most traumatized, i.e., we tend to have a shade of beige tone of skin. So if you have a shade of brown tone of skin, well, it belongs to those with a shade of beige tone of skin. It's just a handy, convenient thing to think about like that. Uh, so you don't have to analyze. Oh, did your mother love you? Do you feel gratitude? You don't have to think like that. You just refer to the skin tone because you link and you assume that the skin tone means they were loved, and the less beige were unloved. It's just a I know it's an oversimplification, and then you got the issue of nominating local monkeys for you, and you got the flying monkeys for you, the so-called coconut phenomenon. Um, looks like they're using that room. I have to wait till that fellow leaves. I don't know. We'll go back to my regular room. I got the music set up there, so we'll play some music when I can go back. If I can go back, I hear it's okay for the time being. It'll fill up soon, so that's why I'm worried. Okay, what I'm saying is just a question mark. I'm brainstorming hypotheses. These are guesstimates. Just brainstorming. These will be updated. We're fishing around. We're trying to be a detective. We're trying to be a detective. We've got to understand ourselves, right? So if we're going to heal, we got to know what's going on. So we're just fishing around with ideas, brainstorming. All these quotes, all these comments, these are just brainstorming kind of things. Um, I wasn't planning on going down that path a little bit, but that path, I won't continue here, but that path of from the plundering and the pillaging, and as above, so below. Okay, so you shamed the planet because you were shamed. Okay, so you pollute the planet because you were polluted. Um, you didn't get the proper mother's food, so you deprived the food outwardly to reflect that you didn't get mother's love food, so you deprived the food outwardly. Now we're eating, Franken sludge or whatever. Franken sludge. I say that because I saw the thing about in Star Trek those food replicators. They're coming. They're coming. They say it's called 3D printing machines. Instead, so forget about your microwave. It'll be a 3D printing machine, and they'll put some cells, animal cells in it, like a chicken cells or something, and it'll zap it to grow it. So now you got this 3D printing of the animal cells and mix in some chemicals. You'll get something that it's kind of sad. It's really sad. So that's the reflection that when the baby was feeding, mother was filled with stress, anxiety, um, cortisol. That's stressful. That's toxic stuff. Like So you eat garbage food because baby got garbage food, toxic food. If there's too much cortisol in the breast milk or the powdered stuff, that's considered toxic. And there's chemicals in that powdered stuff too. So if it's the powdered stuff, but before the powdered stuff, um, mother might have been angry or unavailable or force feeding or schedule feeding, rough handling feeding. So the baby was terrorized during that time. He didn't get a smooth feeding. The mother didn't hold the baby warmly and softly. Uh, because she may be angry at what happened to her, so she's going to shame her baby because she forgot how her mother had shamed her. So she's trying to remember that her mother shamed her, so she shames the baby in an attempt to remember that she had been shamed. So when you don't remember, you repeat in an attempt to remember. So the mother is caught in this compulsion and constraint to repeat what happened to her in her ongoing effort to remember. Now if she doesn't remember, okay, then she just does that to the child, and that's intergenerational trauma. That child grows up, makes the Faustian deal, and does the same thing. It shames her baby, and if she doesn't remember, okay, it goes on like this. So the idea is to pause. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Okay, a woman's got to say to herself, "Wait a minute here. Why do I feel tempted to shame my baby? What's going on here? Don't babies need love? What's going on here? Why do I feel this? Something wrong here?" Okay, okay, hit the pause button here. Um, Okay, we have a quote about a woman who was about to have a baby. She went to the shrinker man, wise me up if you can. A song by Katie Lee on her soundtrack. It's called Shrinker Man. Just a parody kind of fun song about how it would be nice if the shrink could fix you like a car mechanic fixes your car. It's not like that. Anyway, Shrinker Man, I'm about to have a baby, but I don't want to hurt my baby. I feel like something's wrong here. Help me out. What's going on here? And sure enough, he said, well, yeah, you're letting me know in this interaction with me here, past few sessions, whatever, what your childhood was like. You're creating your childhood with me here. What are you talking about exactly? You're letting me know what kind of mother you had and how it felt being with her. Go on, please, sir. Well, you're putting me in the role of you back then. You're acting like her, and I feel like kind of a push and a tug and a pull to feel. Maybe you fell with her. Click, click, click. She got it. Oh my God! You're telling me um, that if I were to have a baby, I would shame my baby the way my mother. Gosh. So she recreated with the shrinker man, and his job is to make you conscious, to help you to remember, to mourn, to know what's going on. Then you don't repeat. When you remember, now know what you couldn't know back then, feel what you couldn't have felt back then. Get the story, narrative medicine, story medicine. When you get the understanding of it all, okay, cognitive knowing and emotional knowing. That's the big one. The emotional knowing, not just intellectual in your head. You have to have an emotional knowing. That's the phoenix rising, the firebird rises, the emotional knowing, the app reaction. I mean, the positive, healthy app reaction, emotional catharsis, emotional freedom. Okay, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, sings Bob Marley. You want to get that release of the feeling back into your body. You get your beingness. Now you got your beingness. Now, when the woman got her beingness back, later she didn't need to shame the baby. Why? Because when you have your beingness, there's an I there who can love. She can love because there's an I there who loves. So the mother can say, I love you, baby, because she has an I there. If the mother doesn't have that I, she can't love the baby. Now she's got the I. And now she's got the golden ball. She has empathy and feelings, and she can relate to the baby and have a rapport with the baby and understand the baby's signals because she has a natural empathy and a natural warmth and a natural instinct to love a baby. So the mother will get back her beingness. When the mother gets back her beingness, she's getting back her natural state of a human woman loving her baby. So that's what she's getting. Then she loved her baby. Didn't need to shame the baby. She could meet the needs of the baby, and so she cured it. She stopped intergenerational trauma, and that baby's going to be loved. He'll grow up and he'll love their baby, and it goes on like that. But if the mother doesn't know, if the mother doesn't remember that her mother shamed her, she just shames her baby, just in a compulsion, because the baby's her. She's the mother. She just repeats the thing. Some she's still there. Son of a gun. Um, there's some I don't know what's going on. Just beside me where I was going to go, there's a thing going on there. Okay, if this holds up, that's okay. We'll stay here. So we played Kristen Wilson's speech, "You My Soul." She had a line in there. Gee, plundering the planet for a quick buck, if that's reasonable, oh, please make me be so simple a person that I wouldn't think of such a thing. So we're doing this unconsciously. We're in a trance. We're in a trance. We're hypnotized. We're hypnotized to repeat the past and in the present, see the present and create a new version, a new edition of the past, and repeat in the present the same thing in the past because there's no time in that part of the brain. That part of the brain has all the power, like the iceberg metaphor, all the energy, all the force, all the memory, all the life force. Okay? This sources back to all of the baby's energy, all of the baby's power, all of the baby's essence, all the baby's drive. It's to reach out, mother, where are you? Okay, latch on, suckle, all is good. Paradise continues, paradise remains. Babies need an extended paradise for the first 4 to 5 months when he's born. Okay, so all of his energy is like that. That's Fairbairn's famous line. Life force is object seeking. Okay, forget about the old idea. Oh, I just want pleasure. Your energy is to find, to connect. It's all about connection. It's called attachment. Attachment. Okay, baby needs an attachment. No baby would make it on their own with no mother, with no connection to the mother. So all the energies. Where are you, mother? Got to attach. Ideally, he wants a normal attachment called a secure attachment. Okay, where the rhythm of safety is there, skin to skin communication, body to body is there, skin to skin, natural feeding with the nerve lines and the suckling, and the mother's loving gaze, and then all the things, and then the mother's sweetness and attunement and reverence and consideration, her presence, her soothing, her regard, her acceptance, her delight, her wonderful appreciation of the miracle that her baby is, life's greatest miracle. And she has this genuine Freude, a pleasure at the baby's happiness, pleasure at the baby's growth, pleasure that the baby's unique and is going to be himself. And the mother has a pleasure in this delight that there's a new person here. Never in all of history was there ever any person just like her baby. And likewise, oh, jeez, it's the ads on the sky trains. They're produced by very young types. We have a quote about that. A lot of the ad agencies, they're just out of school in their 20s. The average age is like 32 or something. And a lot of them are from the LGBT kind of thing. So all these ads, these are from young. Uh, he calls it sibling society. They got a lot of psychology going on. So there are a lot of shocking kind of ads. They want to disturb the audience and the world to say that they were disturbed, kind of thing. So they're trying to communicate what happened to them. So if they shock you with their shocking ads, they're disgusting, or repulsive, vulgar ads or something, or implied kind of shocking ads. Let's just say shocking ads. They want to say that their mother shocked them. They become the shocking mother. Okay. They see us innocent. They want to do to us what was done to them to communicate, and they're crying for love. They're crying for love. Everybody's love or cry for love. So these ad people put these shocking, disturbing ads on, violent horror, etc., etc. Um, um, you know, most of them a lot of them have this LGBT implied thing there. Jesus Christ. We don't really have a thread on that kind of topic, but just in broader terms, if the artist or whatever, they're not artists. That's what Bly said. They're not artists. It's a media. It's an art. Pictures on a sky train. It is meant to be like an art form. You should have artists there. What do you have? Angry, traumatized, bitter, entitled, um, bratty, infantile, enraged characters shocking the world, because they're in bitter. They're not artists. They may believe they're an artist or call it art. Let's call it modern art. Give me a break. They're not enriching us. They're not inspiring you. They're not shining some kind of beingness quality. They're just trying to shock you to say that they were shocked. That's not art. Yeah. So you might see me distracted when the SkyTrain passes. I gotta have a confession this year around. I feel a huge relief with all the Christmas decoration. I'll be honest with you, because for 10 months, it's billboard after billboard, like 5 story, the malls, every panel on the, every door, every panel, every pillar on the SkyTrain, on the platforms, um, in the mall, everywhere you go, it's just all LGB, intense, high def, uh, violently in your face. Uh, um, for, uh, Jesus, I don't want to repeat it, but just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, they had for 10 months a whole string of, like a whole series of uh, LGB ads, sort of on the same theme, where they would blend some kind of disease with the nude man, like waist, from the shirtless man or something. But they'd blend in some kind of disease, and his all of his friends would have a disease. So they'd have these monkeypox guys, and they try to put them all in lipstick. They try to say they wanted to fuse and condense the disease, the LGBT, the psychology, and say it's fashion. So you have these guys. One guy would have the brown blotches all over his body, right? His boyfriend beside him would have the spikes, like as if it's the coronavirus or something. The next one would have some other kind of disease you don't know about. It's all these. They're blending disease and these LGBT half-naked men, uh, implying that they're all LGBT with the diseases. It was a shock. It was a very disturbing kind of imagery, and I actually avoided going to the mall because I didn't, who wants to see that kind of stuff? And it's all over the place, plastered all over the place. And this is for the past 10 months. I kind of like just walked past it quickly. You gotta be kidding. Like, how is that? Who? It's nothing to do with, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see a naked man from the waist up with monkeypox disease, with, you know, dressed up with the cosmetics of a lady, and arm to arm with this boy, the one beside him, with a similar thing, with a similar disease, and there's another one with another disease, and they kind of did these really disturbing kind of things. There's another kind of disturbing habit. Jesus. So it's just some kind of propaganda to shock people, stun people, make people passive, make people confused, make people scared, make people, because the people doing it, they were saying that's what happened to us. We were shocked, we were scared, we had a second, we received mistreatment, so we're going to mistreat you with our imagery. Okay, that's not healthy treatment to go around doing this. So, anyways, 2 weeks ago, it all came down and the Christmas trees came up. Oh, fine. I'll take Christmas wreaths any day over that other perverted stuff. Didn't mean to go on that rant. Yeah, sorry about that. I got to get away from the SkyTrain. The first time I sat near the SkyTrain, I thought it was a bit of a novelty, but and there's only one ad that's okay. It's the Inside Out 2 ad. So when the Disney film Inside Out 2 came out 6 months ago, there were ads for it, and it ran for a few months. That one SkyTrain with the ads on it, Joy and Anxiety, and the crew there, and Riley and all, of course. That was a encouraging, positive ad because that's a very good film. We did 20. If you go to 2020, 2840 TQ 2840, we did the world's only analytic interpretation of Inside Out 2, right there. And there have been numerous updates from that time till present. So we did a section on ennui. It's much more than what you would call the boredom. So we did a 3 video run on ennui, the nostalgia we added, and we added I added an update. They were about to put 3 other emotions in that show: jealousy, Schadenfreude, and shame. So I updated. I talked about the film as if, like, if those were included, what would we say if those were included? So I kind of updated it with that version like that. Um, that's a huge topic. It takes another 4 or 5 hours to run through all that. So back to Homo economicus. So 10,000 years ago, we became Homo economicus. So in order to pillage a pool of poorly paid workers, the rationalization is, well, principle of discovery. It's such a vague slogan, and it appeals to any sensible kind of feeling. Well, if you find something, it's yours kind of thing. Um, like you want to discover something. Well, we all want to discover. We want to discover ourselves. So they twisted that. They can't discover themselves. But we have this desire to find ourselves. And if we had ourselves, we have a desire to express ourselves. That's all missing. So you take that, um, twist it, and say, well, if we find something that's ours, that's the greed now. Now you're entering into the endless greed, envy. It's called grenvy. Greed, gobble up envy. Greed, poverty, greed, pillage, plunder for a quick buck, pleasure. So now we're plundering the planet, polluting, shaming, polluting, damaging, okay, and then plundering. So the 20% plunder the 80%, basically. 80% live in poverty, 20% live like millionaires, whatever. Um, and the slogan is, um, well, um, we're we're envious of people having feelings. We were supposed to have feelings. It was robbed of us. You have feelings. You've got feelings. Yeah, well, that's scary. It's dangerous. I don't know. We're meant to have feelings. We contain it. It hums with us. You know, Homo sapiens um, have a consciousness of ourselves, which we channel our feelings through our consciousness. So we're peaceful, we're calm, we're ethical, we're moral, we're virtuous, we love our babies. Okay? In couple relationships, there's making I statements and mutuality and mutual growth and mutual sharing. It's a positive feedback loop. That's the normalcy when you have your feelings. And you got your feelings not like that. It's like us. You're like us. So they only project what they are. They're in the amygdala mode of the trauma, of the survival brain. Either be my greed or your greed. No. But the humans say, no, no, we live and share and love. Like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. That's scary stuff. Um, okay, because they had that and they felt terrorized when it was robbed from them. So now they think everybody's like them. They don't know the further ahead one. They only see how they are. So they feel no good, mother's dangerous. So they think everybody's no good, mother's dangerous. That's their argument like that. And it's like someone being healthy. It's like speaking another language. You don't know what it is, right? I'm glad to find this place. It's usually packed. So, I'll still not begun. They're still at it. Right beside me. Jesus. It takes up both. It kind of takes up all that whole part of the restaurant. Okay. That's okay. That's just an ad for a new iPhone. That's okay. That's good. The Dolphin car ad was nice. The Dolphin. There's a car called Dolphin now. That ad was nice. Yeah. So two ads are okay. The Dolphin one and the Dolphin car ad and the Inside Out 2 ad. Those are pleasant, clean, normal kind of ads, right? That one's okay. The iPhone one. But I'd say more than half of the ads are violent, shocking, violence, horror films. It, you know, See, one theory about that is if the public is stunned and scared and confused, you'll think that those companies are your mother, your authority. Yes, mommy, okay, because they're tapping into the prototype, the template. When the baby was stunned, terrorized, shocked, and confused and disgusted, okay, the more that happens to the baby, the more the baby's got to think, I got to deny this. I got to turn to my mother. Although the mother's causing the pain, he needs the mother even more. The more pain from the mother, the more the baby needs the mother. So the more they shock you and disturb you, the more you look to them as your mother. So they want to make the authority, or they're the authority, so you want to buy their product. It's a perverse thing. You see, it's really a communication that's what happened to them. That they were shocked by their mother, disgusted by their mother, and they want to do the same thing to you. Hurt people to communicate that they're hurt, as the self-help line goes, the famous line goes. Gee, this video is not going as planned. Oh my God, my goodness. I'm way off here. I was gonna get into Ann Teachworth's material, so we're gonna do a 3 video special run on the work of Ann Teachworth, a very good self-help book of hers about couples and all that. And I was gonna comment a little bit about. I was gonna make a follow-up on the film The Three Faces of Eve. I've talked about the film The Three Faces of Eve already. I was gonna make a follow-up on it. I also commented on the film The Forbidden Planet, the science fiction film. So I wanted to maybe comment on it. And I want to do a comment on an upcoming theory by Berglaz and Baumeister. These two guys, they have a thing called they subdivide self-defeating behaviors in different types. They think there are different types of self-defeating behavior, and one branch, it's little known or little discussed. They focus on that one called pyrrhic revenge. Pyrrhic revenge. That's when you want to punish someone by hurting yourself. If you think that by hurting yourself the parent will be hurt, um, then you go along with that, looking for the psychological issue, um, that you're getting back at somebody. But to do it, you got to hurt yourself. So, for example, if the father, if it's their example was the father very much wanted the kid to do well in school, right? He really put a lot of hope in the kid doing well in school, but the father wasn't nice to the kid. At the same time, the father had an obsession that the kid do well in school. He was angry at the father. He wanted to get back at the father. So he flunked school to freak out his father, and the father would get enraged. And then he got attention. Oh, father noticed me. He's paying attention to me. He's talking to me. He's shouting at me. I hurt him, but I got his attention. It's a pyrrhic revenge. Right? He got revenge at his father at a huge cost to himself. He doesn't get school. He gets shot at, but he wants to punish his father. So the father's all upset. What did he say? They want to take. They exploit the thing. How did they phrase it? Victory, victory through defeat. Was it? They exploit something called "this hurts me more than it hurts you." So the kid wants that. Oh, really? If I drop out of school, it hurts you more than it hurts me. Good. I want to hurt you. So I'll drop out of school. I'll flunk school if it hurts you more than if it hurts you so much. That's what I want. I want to get back at you. That's called pyrrhic revenge. It's an active, malicious attempt to get back at your parents or your partner or something. A partner standing in for the parent by hurting yourself. In the Nashville show, there's a line like that where the couple broke up, and the guy wanted to get back at her for this, so he was hurting himself, thinking it might bother her, to trouble her, disturb her. And she caught it and said, "Look, fellow, look, ex-boyfriend, don't punish me by hurting yourself." So he was trying to do what's called pyrrhic revenge. So I was gonna maybe get into that a little bit. That's another tough one. We got some tough ones coming up. Yeah, that's a tough one coming up. Oh boy, I didn't mean to get so serious today. Oh my God, am I agitated? I was looking forward to go to the Swan Place. I was gonna sit back a little bit, take some time, have a coffee, iced coffee or something, just and enjoy the natural outdoor environment. I was looking forward to like a park-like picnic kind of event. I went there fully booked. Oh, you got to be kidding! I went to the other place. That's not going to work. The other one was. So I came here, and now they're. Um, it's being occupied right beside me. Jesus! Oh my goodness! Yeah, so that's a little annoying. So I came out here. So I have these buildup of little annoyances built up in me. So I think maybe it's leaking out. So I'll channel my anger by picking the serious topics because the serious topics, it's worth being angry when you talk about the serious topics. So I can slip in and sublimate my anger to fill it into the serious topic. And the serious topic is worth being angry at the serious topic, but I want to slip in my anger, this personal anger at the same time. Maybe that's what's going on. Geez, this was supposed to be a light, happy, easygoing video. My goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm tempted to close this video. To tell you the truth, I'm feeling a little. Maybe I can change something. Maybe I can just. Let me take a peek upstairs. If by chance I can hang out there for a bit, maybe my mood will change, and I'll come back down to continue. Give me. Let's take a little break here. I want to save the video. Let's return this. Wait, that's okay. Just keep that. So hang in there. We'll get to the quotes. Yeah. Give it a try. Maybe just give it a try a bit here. Okay, now let's go up. Let's go up. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Just go for a walk. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, he gave three examples. Those two guys. A book from the '90s. A book from the '90s called "Your about self-defeating behavior." So one guy flunked school to freak out his father to get his attention. The other one was a family business. Um, so all members of the family were equal shareholders. The father kind of led the thing or something. So the son, who's a shareholder in the family company, he wanted to get back at his father for ignoring him. So he took a lot of the company's money and became a gambling addict or something on purpose. And when he was in desperation, um, he wanted to provoke his father's rage, and that's the only way he got his father's attention. So that's a Pyrrhic victory, a Pyrrhic revenge, a Pyrrhic revenge. It's a different. They say there's a difference between Pyrrhic victory and Pyrrhic revenge. So that kid got a Pyrrhic revenge. Let's see. Oh, hang on. Oh no. Oh, jeez. No, forget it. It's packed. Oh, that whole pool area is packed. I forget it. Oh, I see. Oh, that's why. Oh, I get it. Oh, there must be a whole massive group here or something. And it spilled over to. Yeah. So the next time I'll show you the view from the 30th floor on the building. There's a bit of a view here. So what was it? Yeah. So he enraged the father. The only way he got his the psychological issue, he didn't want to feel neglected or unwanted. Come on, father, talk to me. Look at me. He ignored him. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. All right. Well, if I blow your money and make you angry, he got punished by this. But oh, I got a victory. I got my anger at him. I punished him. I got my revenge on him, and I got attention. Like, that's what they call firework victory. Firework revenge. It's busy down here too. Oh, jeez. I'm trying to change my mood a bit. To tell you the truth. It's busy down here too. What's this? Oh, it's closed off. All right. And what was the third one? There was he gave three examples, and there was a third sort of similar type of thing. So they think there's a specific form of self-defeating behavior called firework revenge. Firework victory is like, um, you're wondering, gee, was it worth it, kind of thing. Like, you didn't plan it, but firework revenge is more calculated. It's more calculated, right? Um, too bad I couldn't. Too bad I couldn't use this. It's closed. See, look at it. This place is only open at night. Aha! I said I'm running out. There's a thing that's only open at night, like the piano bar or something like that. There's no other place to go around, right? Yeah, I guess I'm feeling a little triggered at the moment, right? Yeah, that's true. Uh, okay, just noticing that, just saying that to myself, I feel a little triggered. I can imagine and work through it a little bit myself. So already I feel like a little calmer just in this moment. Okay, let's do that. Let me do a preview of those quotes from those guys. Let me just zip through it as a preview. It's coming up, maybe 6 or 7 videos down the line, but I want to do a preview of it, so sort of fresh. And then I want to pick up on the science fiction film The Forbidden Planet, and a follow up on Three Faces of Eve. And then we'll get into Anne Teachworth's material about the couple imprint. Oh, about the couple imprint. How about now? There's no other. Yeah, there's no other. There's no other meeting rooms. No, I can't use those. Okay, I've got an idea. Why don't I? Okay, yeah. Maybe if I do this, I can block my view from those characters. Okay, let's try this. I'm kind of hoping they'll leave eventually. Little intense. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, I gotta get the quotes. Okay, let's change it then. Let's start off with Anne Teachworth. She's got a very good self-help book entitled "Why We Pick the Mates, Why We Pick the Mates We Do," and she thinks of it in terms of a certain way of thinking about repetition compulsion. How we, if we can't leave the psychological home of our family, we end up recreating it because we're still there. You want to get your needs met, so you're stuck there waiting, hoping, waiting, hoping for a better outcome for the past. That part of the brain doesn't know time, so you're in a state of timelessness. So the present is a new version of the past. So you recreate in your marriage a kind of a copy of your childhood situation based on the role model of the couple imprint, which he calls the couple imprint. So imagine a child for the first 10 years of life watching his or her parents relate um, uh, amongst themselves between the two. So the child sees how the father relates to the mother, okay, and the child sees how the mother responds and relates to the father, and so on. Uh, she likens it as a training film for the child. All right, child, you're going to be trained. We're going to train you. We're going to educate you. In relationships, you got two people. Okay, we're going to train you. One's going to play the father, one's going to play the mother. And what you see day by day, how they relate, that's your training, that's your imprint, that's your conditioning, that's your classical conditioning, that's your Pavlovian conditioning. Okay, so the child's watching his parents. Okay, so there's two characters here. Okay, fine. There's the father and the mother. Child says to himself, gee, well, when I grow up, I gotta follow that, right? So who am I gonna play? Who am I gonna take after? Who am I gonna imitate? Who am I gonna be, so to speak? So the child might say, all right, I'll pick one, and then when I grow up, I'll choose a partner like my parent chose because I'm gonna recreate that template. Okay. So commonly, let's just start off with the firstborn. So if the firstborn child is a daughter, let's say, okay, she's gonna take after or role model after the father, the opposite, the father. So when that daughter grows up, she doesn't choose what she wants. She doesn't choose what she thinks she might would be good for her. She's only gonna choose a man with the same personality as his mother because she's choosing just like how her father chose. If the father chose a woman with a certain personality, she's got to choose a man with that personality of the mother. So the common line is women marry their mothers. Nothing to do with gender, meaning the firstborn, if it's a daughter, they're going to marry a man with the same personality like their mother because she role modeled after the father and chooses how the father chose. Now, let's say the daughter doesn't like the mother, tough luck kind of thing. Chances are she's going to choose how the father chose. She ends up with a man just like the mother. She, wait a minute, I didn't want a man to be like my mother. Same personality. My mother was too critical, too demanding, too cruel or something. I didn't want that. I didn't want this dysfunctional thing like this. How come I ended up with this? Why is my husband just like my mother? How did that happen? Yikes. Well, it's the imprint, it's the conditioning. She's recreating the imprint. That's the prototype. That's a stamp, so to speak. So when she grows up, she just puts the stamp again. She plays like the father, okay, who chooses a partner with the personality of the woman his father chose. So she marries a man with the mother's personality. It's all about personality. Don't think about gender. It's all about personality. Yeah, so if the parents were kind of opposites, if he was like the quiet intellectual egghead or something, and she was the vivacious, bubbly extrovert or something, okay, then then okay, then she will marry a man who's kind of playboyish, let's say, bubbly playboy, extroverted playboy. Not necessarily, okay, not necessarily like extroverted, bubbly like that. Maybe she doesn't like that, but she's going to choose how the father chose. Okay, put it this way. Let's say the father was like a book type, an egghead, a geek or an egghead, detached a little bit, and the mother was too, and the mother had affairs or some secret affairs or something like that. Cheated on him or something. So she'll choose a man who will cheat on her because the father chose a woman who cheated on him. She's going to recreate the same carbon copy stamp thing. Okay, let's say, um, now let's say, um, so they're kind of opposites, right? The egghead and the playgirl, they're kind of opposites, right? So if she's going to play like the reserved father, then her husband will be the vivacious one or something, the playboy one. They'll be kind of opposite. If the parents are opposites in her relationships, it'll be opposites. Put it that way. If the parents are kind of alike, like attracts like, then it'll be like attracts like on her end. If she chooses after the father, who chose a woman like him, and she's like her, and he chose a woman who was like him, similar to him, and she imitates that, so she'll end up with someone like the father, and the mother was like him, so she ends up with a man like her. So they're gonna be like attracts like. So if the parents were like attracts like, when she grows up, it'll be like attracts like. If the parents are opposites, she grows up, it'll be opposites, where she plays one and the other fills in the opposite one. You're just recreating a continuation of the past because you haven't left that home. Okay, that's one common example. If the firstborn's a daughter, okay, she's gonna grow up, role model after the father, and choose how the father chose. She doesn't choose what she wants. She only copies how the father chose. So her husband will have a personality like her mother. And she says, "Yikes! How did this happen? I married my mother." If the firstborn is the fellow, the boy, okay, it's flipped. He will choose how his mother chose. So he'll marry a woman with the personality of his father. So he married his father. Okay, so if it's the firstborn, it's a daughter, she marries the mother. If it's the firstborn, it's a son, he marries the father. Okay, meaning the the man is going to marry a woman with the personality of her father. So let's keep that same parent, right? That same type. Let's say the son is born, and he's the egghead, and she's the I don't know, the party girl, and the husband is the quiet, reserved one. So when he gets married, okay, oh, okay, yeah, right. When he gets no, so he'll choose after the woman. So the mother chose an egghead. So when the man grows up, he'll choose a woman who's an egghead. If the man's mother chose like a turtle husband, if the man's gonna grow up and choose a woman who's a turtle. I mean, detached, shelled, walled off. I mean, like that. Now she says the second child, in either case, it'll be flipped, right? And whatever the third child chooses, well, the fourth will flip it. Okay, so the point is, um, now part B is, well, first of all, if they were healthy, it's not an issue. This is not an issue. If the parents are healthy, they were nice to each other, warm, affectionate, playful, creative, made I statements, resolved problems peacefully or intelligently, and they were richer for it, better for it, became more closer, more discovery, more delight, more and more new things. If the parents are healthy, the child will role model after one of the healthy parents, and then choose a healthy partner because the parent chose a healthy partner. So you'll choose a healthy partner because you choose how the parent chose. So if the parents are healthy, it's not an issue. We're talking about dysfunctional stuff. Okay, so now what? Let's say the child grew up with dysfunctional parents. So yeah, um, so okay, that their life will be dysfunctional because just following the imprint, and you can't go further from the imprint. Like the imprint stuck like that, so you'll be stuck like that. So you're just recreating that kind of thing. So what do we do? Okay, let's take the example of the couple who went to Miss Teachworth, a dysfunctional, unhappy couple, marriage on the rocks, on the verge of breaking up. She went to the counselor. Counselor, please teach us how to communicate with each other. Teach us how to talk to each other. We're always arguing. Help us out here. Show us how we can communicate between ourselves here. Uh-uh. No way. Not going there. What? Why are we here? What I'm going to do is, I'll see you, sir, on Monday, and I'll see you, ma'am, on Tuesday. All right? Okay, what do we got to lose? So Monday, he comes in and he says, oh, I see. So I guess you're going to play my wife and I'm going to role play with you and practice it. Uh-uh. Why am I here then? What are we doing here? The parents in your head, they're my clients. Your imprint, that's my target. Your imprint, that's what I'm focused on. What are you talking about? All right, sir. When you were a child and you saw your parents relating, did you like it? Oh no, what a pitiful thing. All passive aggressive, stonewalling, gaslighting, pyrrhic revenge on each other, battling all the time, Cold War all the time. Whoops. Oh, I was going to say that. Damn, is that, are they still, oh, let's see if they're still, are they still there? Oh, they're still there. Son of a gun. There's a really unusual thing going on beside me. But if he's going to sit here, well, if I'm doing a video, I guess they can do what they're going to do, I guess. Okay, what's this ad? This ad is for some kind of a new shopping mall. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so yeah, so the fellow comes in on Monday, and the counselor says, sir, when you were a child and you saw your parents relating to each other, did you like it? Oh no. What do you wish took place between your parents and your father, between your father and your mother? Uh, just let's just for fun, just tell me what would have been nice. Would have been nice if they can solve their problems. If they had some mechanism where they can do a clearing with each other, clear up their misunderstandings, and have some kind of like an intimate communication where they understood each other and then forgave each other because they understood each other and they had some kind of process where they can withdraw their projections and talk about how they were triggered, talk about make I statements and free associate and kind of have an open hearted, open kind of communication. And they had that kind of courage like that, and they had a kind of a way to validate each other's feelings, and they had some kind of maybe some kind of discipline to you know do the talking stick thing or the eagle feather thing, some kind of ritual, some kind of process, some kind of clearing process, emotional clearing process, some kind of couples conflict resolution process. I wish they had some kind of process, some kind of way to work through it and just stick it out till they get through it. Not recreate, but analyze. I want them to analyze themselves. I want them to learn. I want them to read a book together, take a course together. I want them to find some way to be committed to get to the source of the matter. Why are they fighting? What's it really about? They're not really arguing about the thing they're arguing about. That's a code and a code for something else. I want them to find that deeper issue. I want them to be closer. I want them to solve their problems. I want them to have that. I see. So they would need certain communication skills. They would need certain kind of tools like that to do that. Right? They need to know how to make an I statement, right? They need to know something like Susan Campbell's thing called unilateral repair statement. Um, on Windmills of the Mind 2326, there's a version of it. Or in her book called From Trigger to Tranquility, or the Rosenberg book about Offner, OFNR, how to make an I statement. So you want your parents to um, be able to process their bring up the past memories that are triggered up by the argument. And yeah, it seems like they're just like hurting each other all the time, and they're creating all this intensity because there's no intimacy. It's a pyrrhic intimacy, and I don't know. Are they trying to create symbiosis? One's afraid of it, one's demanding it, they're fighting all the time. It seems like someone wants to control the other, someone wants to be right. They can't apologize, they don't know how to apologize to each other. So, okay, so okay, I got the idea, sir. Thank you very much. So, I'd like you to sit in this chair here and pretend to be a healthy version of your father. Okay, I want you to act like a healthy version of your father. Oh, okay. So I'm going to role play my father, but not like my actual father, and you're like an imaginary good father. Yeah, you role play your imaginary good father that you wish existed. Okay, I'll try. Yeah, okay, fine. And in the other chair, in the blank empty chair there, you look at the empty chair there and imagine you as the healthy father. Now you're him looking at his wife, your mother. Think about the relationship between the parents, not about you. You're the father talking to the mother. So now you say what you want to say as the healthy father. I mean, you being the healthy father, uh, him, be him saying what you wish he had said. Yeah, I wish he could come clean, kind of thing, and talk about his childhood and how what she's doing kind of reminds him of his childhood, and it's so painful like that. And what she's doing just keeps bringing up this pain all the time. Okay, good, good. So go ahead, do that. Okay, wife sits on the chair and says that. Now, how do you wish your mother responded to hearing that? You hop over to that chair and play a healthy mother, giving emotional validation. Okay? And you want her to say something like, "You must have you have a very very good reason for feeling this. Um, um, you know, what's the hardest thing about that? Um, Go on." Okay, now I know that what I did was a stimulus of the past. Now I have more clarity now, like that. So when I said that thing before, it reminded you of the past, and you had unmet needs in your childhood, and you felt all this stuff, and this stuff came up, and you transferred to the present, and you're fighting with your parents, and you transferred your mother onto me, and that makes sense now. So thank you for telling me that what I did reminded you of your mother, and you're angry with your mother. I didn't realize this kind of thing. Um, Did I get that right? Did I understand it correctly? That when I did that thing, it reminded of your childhood scene, and all those feelings came up, and that's what you're dealing with, and that's what you're fighting with. You're fighting with the past, but you transfer the past to the present, and you pulled me into your past, and I'm in the present, and I can't like correct what your mother did back then, but I feel like I'm being pulled in like that. Did I get that kind of thing right? And I think that's fair. What you're saying is fair like that. Um, okay, so thanks for noticing that and not attacking me for it. Yeah, I just want to understand. I just want to understand what's going on. Okay, now hop to the man's chair. Now you're the father. Okay, what would you say then if she showed a little understanding, a little empathy, kind of try to understand your situation? I would say I'm relieved that you didn't attack me for my sharing. I felt vulnerable telling this to you. I thought you'd use it against me, but you said I had a good reason and you were trying to understand. I appreciate this effort that you're trying to understand. I think what I'll do is before I'm triggered, before I act out and shout at you or whatever, blame you or something, I'll discuss it before it gets to that point. I'll kind of bring it up before it gets too hot or something. I think I'll try to do it like that. But at least now I know that it's something triggered from my childhood. But I might need your help. I need your presence. I might need to share it with you. Would that be okay if I shared some painful memory from my childhood with you? How are you with that? Okay, hop over to your mother's chair and play the mother. And how do you want your mother to respond to that? I'd be delighted. I'd be honored. I'd be delighted to help in this healing process. We're a couple. We're committed to healing. We're committed to growing. Marriage is a healing spiritual growth path. We're on the path together to heal together, to grow together, to love together, to heal together. And you're trying to grieve. You're trying to admit the truth, and you need a caring witness. I'm honored to be a caring witness for you. Grief is healed when it's witnessed by a caring other. I want to be that caring witness for you. Okay, okay, hop over. I'm very relieved, and I've never felt hurt in my life before. I've never felt this kind of support for my vulnerability before. I feel a huge relief like this. Um, Again, and then he might cry, he might tear up or something. Let's say. Okay, then okay, now he may. How about you, darling? Tell me what's going on your side. Okay, now, the eagle feather goes to her. The eagle feather goes to her. Okay, then she talks about how what he said triggered her, and she does a similar kind of thing. Well, what you said triggered my childhood past, and I had needs as a child. They were met. I felt terrorized, and I was angry. I was scared, and I transferred that to you, and I was fighting with you, thinking I'm fighting with my sibling or something. But I realized, yeah, now I realize you're not my sibling, but I just felt this real anger like that. All kind of came up by the thing that you did. Yeah, how are you hearing that? Okay, so you give empathy. I see. So, right, let me, if I get this straight, when I did this thing, that was a catalyst. That was like a symbol or a reminder that prompted and brought up that stuff in the past that you're talking about. You had a need for such and such, for connection, safety, communication, warmth, to grow, for safety and to be seen and to be valued and like that. And things were going on that didn't happen. And then I felt scared and terrified like this. And the thing that I did brought those feelings up. Okay, and you're feeling that that I and that I get that right. That I appreciate that you're making an effort to reflect back to me what my childhood experience coming up. That as a child I had a need for this, didn't wasn't meant. I felt that. Okay, so you had a need for that, and you felt that, and that's what's coming up. Yeah, okay. So I'm glad you're with me on this kind of thing. Yeah, well, I wanna like what you did for me. I want to do for you. So what's the? You have a very good reason for being angry from that situation as you described. You have a very very good reason. Yeah, I totally get it. You have an immensely good reason for that. I get it. It makes perfect sense to me. Um, what's the go on like so? And what else is there about it? Like, I think there might be more. Like, what's the hardest thing about that? Um, what's the most scary? What was the scariest thing about that? What's the hardest thing about it? The scariest thing about that? I'll tell you the scariest thing about it. And she might tell it. She might tear up. Okay, because he's the caring witness now. Grief is healed witness by caring other. She feels safe because he's listening. He's present because she was present to him. He'll be present to her, and she might tear up uh, because finally she can accept and validate that her feeling is real, her feeling can be seen, her feeling can be accepted. So she might tear up and say, "Thank you, darling, for being present and allowing me to say this. I never said it before." So I feel a little relief like this, and I'm so glad we can have this kind of eagle feather process. Um, okay, and then okay, let's say that's enough for Monday, right? Okay, and Tuesday, the lady comes in, same kind of thing. All right, Miss So and So, tell me, when you were a child, did you like how your parents related to each other? Oh no. Well, let's role play a healthy version of your parents. You sit into your mother's chair, and you play a healthy version of your mother, talking to a healthy version of your father, and you play him as well, and you bounce back and forth. Let's start off with something simple. Um, Did your parents have any kind of fun? No, they never had fun. Are you kidding? They were shouting all that. Well, let's imagine positive fake memories. Imaginative, positive fake memories. Just make it up. Imagine your mother initiating some kind of playful activity with her husband, and you initiate. You be this mother. Okay, okay. She hops into the chair. All right, darling. Hey, darling. We've never gone. I was watching the Carol Burnett show, and she went fishing. She went bowling or something. I don't know why I got this idea. Why don't we go bowling? It would be. We've never gone bowling. What do you say? Shall we go bowling? Now you hop over to the man as the father. How do you wish your father responded? The father would be delightfully surprised. Really, you want to go bowling? We've never gone bowling. Wow. Um, you sure? Yeah, yeah. It might be different. Carol Burnett was having fun with it. Maybe we might have some fun with it. I don't know. We can throw the ball down, hit the pins or something. Uh, I don't mind I don't mind the smelly shoes or whatever it is. Okay, if you don't mind the smelly shoes, if you won't mind the smelly shoes, I won't mind the smelly shoes. Let's go. um, okay, then do a new skit. Okay, now imagine your parents discussing a film, going to see a film, and then discussing it afterwards. And you play that discussion. So you play your mother. Hey, darling, what'd you think of the film? And how do you want your father to respond? Not how he did respond, whatever. No, no, no. How do you wish your father responded? And you play that. You actually play a healthy father, openly, vulnerably sharing things that he liked about the film. Well, what I liked about the film was I liked how um, in this film that we saw named The Three Faces of Eve, I liked how the daughter said to the mother, you know, mother, when you play Jane, when you're Jane, I like you like that. But when you're Eve White or Eve Black, I don't like those. When you're Eve White, you're depressed and miserable, and when you're Eve Black, you're dangerous and you scare me really badly. But when you're Jane, I really love it when you're Jane. Mother, could you be Jane? Please be Jane. I want you to be Jane. Can you stay as Jane? I don't want those other two. Just be Jane, the third one, the best one, the healthy one, the outer one. Could you please be Jane? Mother, could you be Jane? I want you to be Jane, Mother. So I liked how the daughter was openly saying, Mother, please be Jane. Forget about Eve White, Eve Black, this either or, Jekyll. You know, be the healthy adult one, the middle one. And I like that kind of scene. And then and the play your mother like that. Yeah, you know what? That is interesting. Yeah, I agree with you. That was scary. How when she was Eve Black and she attacked her daughter like that, very scary stuff. And yeah, Eve White, who wants a mopey, depressed mother like that? So yeah, I'm with you on that one. The daughter should have the mother to be like Jane. And but although I must admit, I do feel a little enticed by the times when she played Eve Black. Okay, the dressed up and teased the guys like that. Okay, well, how do you want your father to respond? Play the father. Okay, think, gotta make a joke, gotta make a joke. Don't blame her, don't call her, don't insult her. Make a joke about. Okay, darling, fair enough. If you want to dress up in a sexy way or something, you can do it with me, okay? Don't go out and play him. Oh yeah, it's a deal, it's a deal. Okay, so you can do some fun thing like that. Okay, and then you can sit back, start again, do another skit. And you want to do these skits. You want to keep doing these skits, right? So, okay, next Monday, same thing. You do a skit with him. Tuesday, skits with her. And this goes on for a few months. A few months this goes on. Okay. So during these few months, it was the three-chair exercise about creating a new precedent, she says, in the brain of healthy parents. Yes, it's fake, but it's something you might refer to inspire you to relate to your partner in the present based on the fake memories. And they claim that after a few months of doing this three-chair exercise, that they somehow referred to it. He referred to his healthy template, new template. She referred to her healthy new template, like a blurry, made-up template. Fine, but she referred to it. She didn't want to go back to the old one. She wanted the positive one. She wanted a happy relationship. He wanted a happy relationship. Now they have some anchor, some resource, some thread, something to refer to make them healthy. Now they have something to base on to make it healthy. So he was kind of coming from a healthy place. She was coming from those healthy memories. And it turned out they applied it. They related to each other by respectively those two referring to their respective new templates with him. And they now had a happy relationship. They were doing fun things. They were laughing, solving problems, discussing films together, making I statements, apologizing, going bowling. They were doing the things and planning things. And they were actually doing it because they had the template to refer to. They had some kind of thing to refer to instead of the old, tired, old, deeper pain that the parents have. They needed a new template, um, a new precedent, a new thing to refer to. And it saved the marriage. The marriage was saved. So she saved the marriage. And not once did she deal with, talk about them and their mother or the guy and her between them. Just focus on the parents in the head. The parents in the head. Heal the parents in your head because you're coming from there. So if you heal the parents in the head and you come from there, then you'll be healthier in the present. As above, so below. Okay, so if the inner is healed or healthier, your outer will reflect that. If the inner template is messed up, then your outer life is messed up. As above, so below. Okay, as above, so below. The outer is a reflection of the inner state. So if the inner state template is messed, your outer life will be messed. If you can create some kind of new template that's nicer, that can move towards having a nicer life in your present life, okay, as a reflection of your nicer templates. You want to create a nicer template to have a nicer life. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. They're still there, aren't they? Son of a gun. Confirm. Hold on a second. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, they left. Good, good. Oh, what a relief. Jeez. All right. Okay. Good. They left. Somehow they left. Okay. Let's read those quotes I was just talking about and teach with. If you've ever been attracted to someone who wasn't good for you, in love with someone you didn't like, or unable to find the kind of person you always wanted to be with, well, you're one of the thousands of people who have already experienced the conflict between what the conscious mind wants and what the unconscious imprint demands. Everyone has a subconscious map of the world, endopsychic structure, internal intrapsychic structure, a kind of a map or a template or a schema or a working model in the mind. It's what guides you daily, minute by minute, person to person. You may decide what you'd like to have in a mate, but there's an unrecognized, programmed part of you that decides whom you get, and you have little say about its goal. Iceberg metaphor, unless you're conscious. Feelings that are buried alive um, control our behavior without ever letting our conscious mind know why we are doing or not doing some things. They rob us of any choice in the matter. We just react. Now they control our behavior as adults without our knowing it. So it's a template. It's not about what the fortune tellers say with their crystal ball. Okay, it's fortune tellers say it's fate that brings couples together. Metaphysicians say it's a super soul choice before birth. Oh boy. Songwriters say it's the moon and the stars that bring people together. Astrologers say, no, it's the planets, the Venus and the Mars. Perfume makers, no, it's the pheromones. Researcher, other people say, no, it's the hormones. Old wives say, well, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. New wives disagree. It's through his, okay, bleep, fill in the blank. So it's not about that, right? These are trivial little fluffy things. It's, okay, next one. Here's the core. Here's the core of it here. It's not how our mother or father was with us that determines who we select for a mate. Okay? It's not how our mother or father was with us that determines who we select for a mate. That's a tough one, right? You kind of think it's like how it happened between you and your parent. That's kind of the choosing kind of thing. It's not quite like that. He says you only choose how your role model parent chose. Think of it like that. It's how our mother and father were with each other in our early childhood that forms the marriage imprint, the inner couple imprint. For your inner adult, there is only one way to be when you grow up and have a relationship. Either you're going to be like your father or like your mother. You're going to pick one. So you're going to choose like your father or your mother, one of them. And then you're going to find someone for the other role and then have a relationship like theirs. You're going to be that internal couple. The internal couple was the training film that you watched every day as a child. Your parents had the two lead roles in this relationship training film that gave you your first and only couple imprint in your early years. Again, the internal couple was the training film. The internal couple was the training film that you watched every day as a child. Your parents had the two lead roles in this relationship training film that gave you your first and only couple imprint in your early years. As a result, you saw only two models of how to be in a grown up relationship. Either you're going to be like him or you're going to be like her. That's your only role model, right? Be like him or be like her. It's your very own home video of a couple in action. There are only two lead roles in this film, and in order for the replay to begin in your adulthood, you must first find someone to cast in the other lead role, the inner mate. Now, this takes place, she says, roughly 75% of the time. About 75% of the time, when you grow up and your programming surfaces, the inner adult part of you chooses the same type of mate that your adult role model parent chose. Okay, that's so the adult role. So for the child, father, mother, when they pick one, that one they pick is called the role model, adult role model. So you'll pick like the role model picked. Um, where are we here? 75%. Okay. Um, okay. If your personality is more like your father's, then he is your inner adult model, and you will pick a mate like he did, someone with your mother's emotional makeup, because she is your inner mate model. Okay, so your inner mate model is the one your parent chose. So you identify with one. Okay, the other that he chose is your mate model because that's what your parent chose. Um, if you are more like your mother, then if you are more like your mother, then she is your inner adult model, and you will pick someone with your father's personality and behavior, no matter which gender you are. Forget about that. It's about personality. Then he would be your inner mate model. We subconsciously copy the personality of one of our parents and then act it out in a relationship with someone like our other parent. See, there it is there, right? We subconsciously copy the personality of one of our parents and then act it out in a relationship with someone like our other parent. That sentence kind of summarizes the whole thing, right? Again, we subconsciously copy the personality of one of our parents, and then you're going to act it out, okay, in a relationship with someone like our other parent. So if it's the firstborn's a son, the other parent, they copy the mother, the other parent's the father. So you marry a woman with the personality of your father, that's the other parent. You play the mother, your wife plays the father. You're still like that. We have chosen that person as a mate for his or her ability to interact in a very familiar pattern to our parents. Okay, for example, quote. Okay, this is the one about the mother, the woman who married her mother compulsively. Quote, I married at 17 to get away from my mother. As I look back on my four marriages, I've married my mother each time. These guys treated me the same way she did. It's as if she was here all along in spirit inside all my husbands. They were all like my awful mother, one and the same. Now, I've spent 10 years in therapy working on my inner child's relationship with my mother. Now, you, Miss Teachworth, you're telling me that all along it's because I'm like my dad that I've picked mates with my mother's personality? The real problem is that I'm attracted to the same kind of person my dad was attracted to, and so I naturally selected the same type of mate he did. Are you bleep 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 me? Yikes. Unquote. The subconscious goal is to recreate the inner couple. Your mother and father's relationship, like it or not, became the basis for all other intimate relationships between you and other human beings in your adult life. Since there were only these two lead roles in their relationship example, you will take after one of these adults more than the other. The set of instructions that led you to pick the mate you did was, in every sense of the phrase, a post hypnotic suggestion, quack, because it functioned without your conscious awareness, controlling whom you would attract, select, and marry. Left untreated, the unconscious inner couple imprint will become the client's only couple imprint for his or her own relationships later in adulthood. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new land, but in seeing with new eyes. Okay, the thing about the quack, she likens it just to maybe to make the point, or just try to fish around why this compulsion takes place. Her analogy is the hypnotist thing. So imagine in the old days, the stage hypnotist brought some vulnerable, sensitive, childlike person on stage, highly suggestible, highly impressionable, highly hypnotizable. Okay. And what the hypnotist wants to do is he wants to fill in for the missing parent, because the child is going to go along and do what the parent says. So he wants the hypnotizee to do what the hypnotizer wants, to replay and co-opt and bring up that psychology where the baby will dance to any tune the mother says. Okay, so you find someone in the audience who never had a loving mother or dysfunctional family or whatever. So you never had a parent to really connect to, something like that. So the hypnotist says, your eyes are getting sleepy, your eyelids are getting droopy, I'll be your mother. You're going to do it in a low voice, calm down, relax, I'm here, you're present, you're vulnerable, you're sleeping. You're going to be like a child. You don't go fully asleep, you're not awake, your eyes are closed, you're not in a deep sleep, you're not conscious, you're sort of in this middle zone, some kind of middle twilightish kind of place where she will um, act like a baby to the mother. So the hypnotizer says, all right, you baby, okay, I want you to pretend you're a duck, and I want you to act like you're a duck and make the sounds of a duck. Go ahead. And she quacks, and the whole audience in the theater, everyone's laughing like this. She's quack. She just knows she's doing it. Right? She doesn't know she's doing, but she's obeying the mother. By the way, she can only do something that she'd be okay doing if she were conscious. The hypnotist can't say, "Oh, I want you to do this bad thing," if she wouldn't do it normally if she were awake, right? So she don't. She'll only do what she would. That's in her makeup to do, kind of thing. So it's in her makeup that she can play like a kid and quack. It's okay. So he says, "I want you to pretend you're a duck like that." So she's quacking and quacking like this. Now she's still. Her eyes are closed, and then he gives what's called a post hypnotic suggestion, and he's going to say to her, for the rest of the afternoon in this room, when you hear me say the word duck, I'd like you to quack, okay? And if you understand, please nod. She understands, okay? Okay, I'm gonna snap my fingers on the count of five, and you're gonna wake up, and and you won't remember anything that just took place here. Um, okay, so here, okay, so on the count of five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, snaps his finger. Wake up! Oh, wake up! Oh, and could you please tell us what you remember? I don't know. I'm out of it. I don't know. I'm sitting here. I guess, did I fall asleep or something? I don't know. Okay, fine. Now, please take your seat, he would say. And then the lecture would go on. And then about an hour later, he'd tell some little joke about a duck or something. And then she jumps up and starts quacking. And she's freaking out here. Why is she quacking? Like this compulsion. Everybody's laughing and she's doing it. And he's, okay, you no longer have to act like a act like a duck when you hear the word quack. It's over. So it's not my fear. It's over. And she's okay. Like, so she would use this example for people. The baby's hypnotized. You're hypnotized. When you grow up, baby, and you see somebody like your mate, your parent, you, when you see somebody who reminds you of the opposite parent from whom you're going to identify with, quack, You're going to choose them. You're going to select them. You're going to marry them. Quack, like this. Post hypnotic suggestion. That's her theory, like this. And then, okay, that's 2941. And then when we get to 42, this is about the chair thing. Okay, more about this is about mainly about the chair exercise. So I'll do that next time. And then in 43, so I got a mixture of them. Um, yeah, so write down how you would have wanted your parents to change or fix their relationship. Who would you have wanted to do what? How would the other parent respond differently? Role play them acting out. Okay, and so on. So we'll get to that. And see, hundreds of books have been written on the subject of mate selection. The common belief when I'm the common belief when I married was the father was always the little girl's ideal mate model and the mother little boys. Okay, so traditionally people say the daughter will marry someone like the father and the guy's going to marry someone like the mother. Okay, like the popular song, I just want a girl like the girl who married dear old dad. Well, in our case, my husband had to deal with the growing realization that he had married a girl just like his dad, not his mom. See, it doesn't work, right? He grew up and married a woman like his dad. That goes against the common idea. Okay, so we'll do some more. Yeah, their parents became my clients. Actually, this one sort of summarizes it here. My assumption was that most couples' difficulties stemmed from their unfinished business with their parents. I now believe that a couple's difficulties reflect the unfinished business from their parents' relationships. We focused not on the unmet needs of the unhappy couple who walked into my office, but on the unmet relationship needs of the two unhappy couples who floated in with them, the ghosts of their parents. They they became my clients, these ghosts. So the clients for the counselor are the ghosts in the mind of their clients. Okay, and it goes on like that. All right. Okay, now let's do the self-defeating one, or maybe the lighter one. Over here. Okay, Slani, we'll save Slani. Maybe the film one. Should we do the film one? Okay, let's do it on the lighter side here. Let's do the ones with the film, and let's see how we feel about the heavy one coming up. Yeah, let me let's go back to the outside part for a bit. Oh, okay. I won't do the whole three faces of Eve bit, but just basically, it's a metaphor for inner psychology. Okay, number one, the splitting. The main one being splitting. Okay, the baby when he's hurt by the mother, he can't see the mother as a regular person. He's got to split it up. Mother's a monster or mother's a goddess. That's how he organizes the pain he's in. The mother being a monster, no way. That's not his mother. Impossible. She's got to be the goddess and keeps it split like that. So in the mind like that, there may be these two constructs, goddess and demon, basically. Okay, that can lead to what we see in the film. Okay, um, that the phenomena known as splitting, either or. And so she was called black or white, Eve black, Eve white. These two characters. So naming the two characters black and white, that's code for the splitting of the psychology that the baby um, copes with trauma by splitting the mother. Um, in normal development, the splits resolve. You get one there, the central one that holds the two, the other ones poof away, and you got the main one. But in the interim, in the beginning, it's split like that, goddess and demon. And in relation to the goddess and demon, okay, the goddess one, always special and blissed and happy like that, even though it's made up. And the part self representation linked to the part other representation. That's the monster. The part self is the defective, no good, shame, always wrong, always guilty, always miserable one. So in Inside Out 2, the film, joy was split on the one side, anxiety was split on the other side. Anxiety always said, I'm no good, something's wrong with me. And joy said, no, everything's perfect and wonderful and all that. It's not really like that. It's that you want a construct that's realistic. So those two parts sense of selves that you see in Inside Out 2 poofed away, and a new one came up at the center, and then that's holding the tension of the opposites, synthesizing the opposites, something that's broader that holds the other ones. It's a new thing. It's the third side of the coin. It's the golden mean. It's the diamond. It's the facets. Then you got your beingness like that. And you calm down, and that's the normal state of affairs. And you get there when you resolve oppositional thinking, okay, discern real feelings versus sham feelings, okay, give up unreal hope, forgive yourself for the beliefs that you created that you're guilty and you're wrong like that. Study defense mechanisms, get your parents a story, see the two sides, look for the third side of the coin, okay, that holds the other two sides. Um, okay, so, and that's the conclusion of Three Faces of Eve. She went to therapy for 3 years, and then you saw the Jane character. When the Jane character came on, like I said before, the daughter said, "Oh, I love this Jane character," and then so now that Jane's on the scene, Eve white and Eve black poofed away, they disappeared. So the splitting's been resolved. That the person doesn't have to see things in jungle slogans, my greedy, your greed, adversarial thinking, oppositional thinking, jungle slogan thinking, either or thinking, black or white thinking. So the black and white thinking was gone. Yeah, so black and white thinking was gone. You got the normal, healthy, conscious mind. Okay, Robert Bly calls that the Noah's Ark. Mr. Noah had to build the ark. That's the Jane that floats up. That's in the present. If you don't have the ark, you're swimming in the unconscious. Then you got those two constructs: Eve white, Eve black, and that's in the past, and you're repeating them, and it's miserable. Either way, it's miserable. You're miserable with one side. You're miserable with the other side. Okay, and Inside Out 2, you can't do it with the delusional joy all the time. You can't do it with the anxiety side all the time. Both are unhealthy. Both make the person sick. Um, Actually, they're both part of the same problem, so they're going to get sick either way. They're both simultaneous, right? So you need the third one. You need the third one. So we saw the exercise. Okay, they hopped on the broccoli boat, rode the stream of consciousness. That's called free association. Say what comes to mind. Tell your story. Say what comes to mind. Free associate. Accept your feelings. Validate your feelings. I must have a very good reason for feeling this. What's the hardest thing about this? What's the saddest thing about this? Go on. What does this suggest to me? What does this remind me of? Go on. Just validate. Free associate. Ride the broccoli boat. Ride the broccoli boat. Free associate. You do the same thing with your dreams in the morning. Free associate what you remember in the morning. What does this dream sequence remind me of? It's a letter from my unconscious to me. Morpheus or Hermes sent me a letter from my soul to me. And making from your unconscious to your conscious. Try to make more conscious that's unconscious. Free associate. Try to know, try to understand, piece together, make inferences, try to figure out, know what's going on. Ride the broccoli boat, ride the broccoli boat. Now you gotta realize the mother was impaired, the mother was traumatized, she couldn't love. She couldn't love. That's part of the story. But she would have, she could have. Okay, you got to discern between real feelings versus sham feelings. Blowing off steam is not real feelings. Um, you got to face these unconscious beliefs that you can still get mother's love, you can still change your mother. You can protest. Maybe you'll change your mother. Maybe if you find something symbolic of mother, you'll get mother's love. You got to face this unreal belief that you were guilty and defective. That's not true. You got to update this stuff. You ride the broccoli boat. Ride the broccoli boat. Okay, and at some point, in particular, when you resolve oppositional thinking, it's not either or. You got to find the both and. Both and. When you ride the broccoli boat, Baba Yaga appears on the chicken leg and says, "Look, you want to go? You want to keep riding the boat? At this point, you got to show me that you can do both and thinking. Can you do both and thinking? Okay, good. You do both and thinking. Keep going. Keep going. Another Baba Yaga. Can you divide the seeds? Real feelings versus sham feelings, defensive feelings, hubris feelings, neurotic pride feelings versus genuine feelings. Can you divide the seeds? Okay, good. Keep going. Another Baba Yaga. Uh, can you be like a duck and live in these two worlds continuously? Can you make the unconscious conscious? Can you own your projections? Can you think you're saying about others? Can you see that's a mirror that is about you? Can you do these two things? Duck, swim in the water, fly in the air. Can you make the unconscious conscious? Okay, and you pass these three Baba Yagas, and then and the someday thing and the false belief thing and a few other little things like that. And then maybe spontaneously, we don't know, we don't control this kind of thing, the Firebird appears. You hop in the back of the Firebird, you ride the Firebird up, you ride the Phoenix up. That's the emotional knowing you're getting feelings coming up. Now your feelings are coming alive. Firebird, vibrant flames of the vibrant aliveness, of the vibrant colors of the Firebird. This mythical, okay, you're getting your feelings back, you're getting your beingness back. Yeah, you pull the thorn. That means you're free. You emancipate yourself from emotion because you admit you didn't get love. You admit it. That's grieving. When you grieve, you get your beingness. I feel their family. You get your animus when you grieve. It's this verdict of reality that makes the work of mourning so difficult. If you can get the reality that your mother didn't love you, my mother didn't love me. My mother didn't love me, i.e., she didn't meet your needs. Oh wow, wow, wow. Now you're feeling firebird. Okay, when you're mourning, okay, mourning is the doorway to identity and feelings, says Robert Bly. Mourning is the way to maturity and growing up. Okay, mourning. It's all about mourning. So you got to get the truth. The more the truth will upset you free. Then the firebird comes. You ride the firebird up. You ride the firebird up, right? How did I get on this part? Oh yeah, okay. So in the three faces of Eve, um, okay, we don't see any of this in the film. Um, they kind of missed it. I think they missed a huge thing there. Her 3 years of therapy, all they showed you was some pompous guy blowing the cigar the whole time. They focused on how he's so good at blowing smoke with his cigar. It was meant to be an in-your-face picture. Well, he's Mr. Freud. Give me a break. Okay, he looks like a whatever. Okay, so that part failed. But they wanted to say at least she's in therapy and there's Mr. Freud. That's all. They didn't give him any script. You didn't see any analytic training or anything like that. You didn't see any kind of interpretation or you didn't see it. The only thing he said was that Eve White and Eve Black should get to know each other, befriend each other, and synthesize because they're both parts of the same thing. So they shouldn't be separate. You got to bring the splits together. So he did say at that one point that Eve White and Eve Black should get to know, should communicate with each other. But you got to have a Jane mind to do that. That's building the Jane mind to bring the splits together. The Jane mind brings the opposites together. Hold attention to the opposites. So when Eve White, Eve Black, sort of, it's a tension between the two like that. You need a third to hold the tension. You need that middle ground, the middle way. That's the Jane mind. Okay? That's the art. That's the Noah's Ark. That's above the water. So you okay? So that holds the tension to the opposite. Inside Out too. At the conclusion, you saw the flipping. You saw the flipping there. Is it this? Is it this? You saw the opposites. In the conclusion with the Firebird. Okay, in Inside Out 2, when they wrote the Broccoli Boat, then at some moment there was this, they showed you the Firebird by showing you an avalanche, all those orbs, those memories. They showed you an avalanche. So all those orbs came rushing up like that. They hopped on the back of the orbs, like hopping on the Firebird, hopping on the Phoenix, and they hopped on the orbs. They kind of rushed up like that. That's getting your feelings back, and it came up like that. Now we see the either or issue you got to face. So instead of showing you Baba Yaga, they showed you how Riley was facing the. Am I guilty? Am I innocent? Do I deserve love? Do I not deserve love? What is it? Either or. It's a both and, something that's both and. So you saw the group hug. The group hug is kind of like you're holding these opposites. You're holding, embracing these opposites, holding these opposites. They actually call it holding the opposites, holding the tension of the opposites, embracing the opposites. You got to hold it, hold it, hold it. It's not. Don't split it. Don't. It's not either or. It's some kind of new thing that's inclusive. It's a both and vertical thinking, three-dimensional thinking, both and thinking. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Get there. It's hard, kind of hard like that. If you can do that, if you can sustain that, you can embrace that. Okay, then the Firebird comes out. They showed it to you sort of in flip form. It should be first the either or, then the orbs. They showed you the orbs, then the either or. But anyways, they showed you both anyways. The sequencing is not that important. They just want to show you the two. Ideally, it'd be Riley holding the group hug, and then the orbs come rushing up. Okay, okay, and then okay, so in Three Faces of Eve, the Jane came. Okay, Jane came. That's um, so she can get back her child. The child is safe with Jane. Eve Black is gone. Okay, because there's something new. Something new. Jane is the new one, the healthy one. It was never there before. It's new. It's new. Three years of therapy brought it there like that. So she got the kid back because when she was Jane Black, the kid was in danger, so she had to get locked up and the kid get sent away. So when Jane came on the scene, the shrink tried to hypnotize her. All right, snap my fingers. Please quack like Jane White, Eve White. Nothing. Please quack like Eve Black. Nothing. Jane said calmly, says, they're really gone. It's just me here. They've disappeared. They poofed away. So you healed splitting. It's not. It's meant to be healed within the first few months of life, right? But if the mother's too shaming, it doesn't get a chance to heal. So at midlife, you got to update it like that. Another way of thinking about Three Faces of Eve is just simply that if you repress too much, um, if Eve White represses her feelings, denies her feelings, you got all this anger like that. That's the Eve Black one, right? But if Eve, but if Eve White can upgrade herself, um, then Jane can be there. Another way of doing it. So it's not about multiple personality. Forget about that. That's just some dramatic trick to get people's attention. It's just a symbol to exaggerate the idea that we have um, feelings that we're afraid of, feelings that we are pretend feelings, and our real feelings that we're afraid of. That kind of thing. Nobody in real life has ever reported that they actually met somebody with MPD. This is nonsense. If there's a freak one, it might have been some experiment that they did in some laboratory with somebody, a poor person, and then they wanted to hide it by saying it's a psychological trauma issue or something. And the issue, the healing, one of the healing points, that the thorn that they had to pull um, was under hypnosis. She remembered the thing that crushed her soul. At the age of 5, the mother forced the 5-year-old girl to kiss the corpse of her dead grandmother. She was terrified. She was screaming like a banshee and all this, they said. So Janoff would say that's code for the birth trauma. That kind of screaming, that high pitched screaming, that's really the birth trauma. So she was facing the birth trauma, transferred onto that scene with the corpse scene. So part of the forgiveness was Jane now said, I kind of get it. My mother had this belief that it'd be good for me to see my dead grandmother, this dead 99-year-old corpse in the casket like that. She wanted me to look at her and kiss her and say goodbye, grandmother. It was too much for me. I couldn't face this. I couldn't know this. I didn't want to admit this. It's too scary to see this dead thing. So she was scared like this. So the mother didn't know that the child didn't have the capacity to be okay with that because the kid didn't have the capacity because the kid was engaged in splitting. We see Eve White, Eve Black, that's splitting. If splitting precludes mourning, it's You can't mourn, and you're going to be forced to mourn. Your mother terrorized you. You got to admit the loss of your grandmother, or I'm going to punish you. I don't have the ability to, but you're pushing me. So she lost it. She got huge amnesia like this, and that led to the splitting of the personalities later on, or just deep repression, and then you got the superficial. Uh, Compliant girl, but underneath is the good girl, bad girl, either white or black kind of thing. So there's an overlap. You can think of it in two ways. Just a more practical way. We all wear a social mask, but there's buried feelings. But that doesn't lead to multiple personality disorder where you act like one and you forget that you're the other. Um, so they showed you that in the film. When Eve Black came on the scene, and then she came under, and Eve White came on. Eve White said, "Why do I have a headache? Why do I have a hangover here? I don't remember this." Well, it's the same body. When Eve Black came on the scene, she was a boozer. She drank all this liquor, and then Eve Eve White came to the fore. Eve White has the same body, so she got a headache from what Eve Black was drinking from the alcohol. She gave her the hangover, and Eve Black made a joke. Yeah, I'm gonna drink and punish Eve White. I'm gonna give her a headache. She like this. So Eve Black was aware of Eve White, but Eve White had no clue about Eve Black. That's the thing about a multiple, that Eve White had no clue that when she was acting like Mr. Hyde and came back as Jekyll, uh, the Jekyll didn't know that that he was Mr. Hyde this time. But there's nobody, nobody believes this. Um, Despite the convincing narration, um, it's all for dramatic effect. Movies are about entertainment and selling. Even this one here, Hitchcock was more interested in making a good movie than in representing psycho. Okay, in reference to the film Spellbound by Hitchcock, he wasn't interested in teaching you about psychoanalysis or representing psychoanalysis. He just said, "I want to make a good movie. I want to make a good whodunit movie. That's it." I just use the psychoanalysis background as a new background or something, sort of in vogue or something. That's all. It's the same thing. Three Faces of Eve. The authors of the novel. I want to make a good novel. Oh, I make a good film based on that novel. And the actress who played Eve won an award and all this. One thing I like about, I didn't know this, the actress Joanne Woodworth Woodworth, is that right? Did I get it right? Joanne Woodworth or something. I think I got to look up her last name. Do we have it here? Oh, Joanne Woodward. Sorry, Joanne. Yeah, we have it here. Joanne Woodward. Okay, that actress who played it. Um, they did a sequel, another version of Three Faces of Eve called Sybil. And Joan Woodward, the actress who played Eve in the first film, played the shrink in the second film. That's kind of cool. So she was a client, then she was a shrink, kind of thing. That part was cool. Right? So let's do a couple of quotes as a follow up to Three Faces of Eve. Oh, just one really. Oh, just one follow up. No, no, three follow ups. Three follow ups. Okay. Um, okay. First one. The Three Faces of Eve. So we have personality A is intra inside conscious of B, but not vice versa. So Eve Black is aware of Eve White, but not vice versa. But personality C is conscious of both, but A and B is not conscious of C. So the two Eves don't know about Jane, but Jane knows about two C's at the two Eves. That's what you want. You want the Jane to know about the two Eves. That's what you want. You want to build that capacity called Jane in the film that knows about the two Eves. The two Eves don't know about Jane. The two Eves are there because there is no Jane. When you get a Jane there, the two Eves poof away. Okay. This one person says, um, one shrink quoted another shrink who said, um, these are not true cases of MPD. Um, these what you're talking about is internalized imagery companions. Used to be called alters, alter egos, or imag- imaginary companions. So somebody might imagine, gee, wouldn't it be nice? A repressed housewife might have a fantasy that she could be a star on stage or something, teasing all the fellows, them they're throwing money at her or something. She might have that kind of fantasy. So referenced into that. Now this number three one has a little more detail to it. They approach it more from like a sociological society kind of thing. So this is Miss Kelly talking, not me. Okay, so just don't. This is Miss Kelly talking. Okay, the psychoanalytic intersections of race, class, and gender identity all came together in the 1957 film The Three Faces of Eve, directed by um, uh, none Miss Johnson here. So the actress Joanne Woodward starred in this quote true story unquote of a Georgia housewife with multiple personalities based on the book by doctors Thigpen and Checkley, the therapists who treated the real Eve. Somebody introduces the film uh, about this. Not surprisingly, the shrink um, is the authority in the film, and he not only diagnoses Eve, but defines what her normal feminine identity should be. The film reflects post war tropes about race and gender. The racialized characteristics evoked by Eve's differing personalities are explicit, even down to the names. Her first personality is Eve White, designated a lower class, quote, right, white trash, unquote, Southern woman who is abused by her husband. So that's why she's so depressed and filled with despair. That the husband is violent and all this stuff seems to be common um, over there at that time, I guess. Yeah, a Southern woman who is abused by her husband. Okay. The second personality is Eve Black, revealed to be a wild woman whose behavior is associated with sexualized quote unquote blackness, a proclivity for jazz music, vividly described by Bosley Crowther as quote a loose, lurid creature with a brash go to hell attitude. She has sort of like a borderline BPD personality. Doesn't want to cooperate with anybody. The BPD is in rebellion with everybody. Go to hell to everybody. Everybody's the mother. Go to hell, mother, kind of thing. Eve Black is fully aware of Eve White and everything she does, and she can even pass herself off as the other personality when she chooses. Significantly, however, Eve White blacks out when the other personalities come to the fore. With the aid of therapy, a third personality emerges, a healthy one that is neither wild nor, I don't like that phrase, but okay, fill in the blank. And tellingly, is also less southern. Okay, less southern, yeah. So Eve becomes the desired middle class woman and is cured. Yeah, so they kind of said like the lower class, the middle class. So she was the lower class. So they brought her up to the middle class. The middle class. So she's healed. She's above a little bit or something, like psychologically above. Yeah, that's a edgy quote, eh? That's a bit of edgy quote. But she's talking about that time, 1957. I didn't think I don't have this personal prejudice in this kind of way. I don't really relate to this kind of 50s prejudice. I don't. I was born after that, so I don't really relate to this kind of a. this kind of prejudice. But I didn't think that when Eve Black was, a playgirl and teasing the fellows and stealing, doing, behaving like a harlot or whatever, I didn't associate her in. I didn't think about people with the shade of brown tone of skin being bad. Like I didn't get that part. But the rest of the quote I thought was a little bit interesting. All right, enough about this. All right, let's leave it there for the three faces of Eve. We'll update it. We'll update it. But I think it's just a metaphor that we want to build the Jane mind, the conscious mind, the adult mind, build the ego, build the ark, build like Noah builds the ark. We got to build an ark of the mind that floats above the water, i.e., we don't swim in the unconscious. And there's no conscious, that means there's no present. The unconscious is the past, you're living in the past. To live in the present, to be healed and healthy and normal, you need an arc to live in the present, a conscious mind. This conscious mind um, puts up, is created when you resolve oppositional thinking and get a both and way of thinking, as you see in Inside Out 2. Okay? And as you see in Baba Yaga's test to Ivan in the fairy tale Maiden King, and any other motif in any representation of where it's not either or, it's not jungle slogan, it's not adversarial thinking, Cold War thinking, or oppositional thinking, either or. It's not this kind of the ideology of this traumatized baby, traumatized brain. Okay, the baby might think that briefly for a few weeks because he's so small, mother's not perfect. The child thinks, oh, either or. Okay, breastfeeding is a question of heaven and hell for the baby. If the feeding and the smoothness is there, the paradise is there, it's paradise. If the mother's not there, click, it's hell. It's either or for the baby. Baby can't do ambivalence. Baby can't say, oh gee, mother's trying to remember that she was traumatized. She wants to traumatize me because she's trying to remember that she was traumatized, that she had been traumatized. So I can help her like that. I'll forgive her. I won't think she's hurting me. That's okay. Oh, mother is in battle with my grandmother. She wants me to play my grandmother. Well, I can help her. Oh, that's okay. I won't think I'm being rejected like that. Oh, um, mother wants to shame me because she had been shamed, or mother's got a lot of tension. She wants to blow off steam and scapegoat me. Well, that's okay. I won't think badly about her. Baby can't do any of this stuff. Baby can't do any of this stuff. So if his needs are met, he's in heaven. He's in paradise. Needs unmet, misatune, malatune, whatever it is, click, he's in hell. It's splitting. It's either or. But in normal development, this all gets sorted out. The goddess and demon, the either or, Eve white, Eve black mind thinking poofs away, and you get a Jane mind. So a child will get a Jane mind, within by the age of 4, let's say. That's the psychological birth. You get the when the Jane mind appears, that's called the psychological birth of the infant. Margaret Mahler, right? You want the psychological birth when you get the Jane mind. If you don't have the Jane mind, you don't have the psychological birth. So we have two births: the biological birth, and you want to get the psychological. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. The psychological birth. And so if we didn't get the psychological birth by age 4 or whatever, that's what midlife's for. That's what the midlife audit's for. The midlife examination period is for. The hero's journey, the second journey. This where you do this kind of survey, this kind of audit, you do this kind of investigation. You might still be frozen there. That's like a thorn. You got to pull well. You don't pull the thorn. That's the release. The firebird. Nature does that, but you want to set it up so that it happens naturally, kind of thing. In the words of a famous book, in the words of a famous book of the period, um, in the words of a famous book of the period, Max Dreser's The Double Ego, 1890, the mind had an upper consciousness and a lower consciousness. The lower consciousness spoke to us in dreams. and it could be Morpheus, or in the film, in the sci-fi film, The Forbidden Planet, it was called Morbius. So Morbius was named after Morpheus, and because it's a metaphor about the unconscious, which is the dream world. Okay, so in the 1956, The Forbidden Planet, Walter Pidgeon's quote id, the named villain in the movie, has become monstrously actualized, threatening the disruption of all its surveys. As we see in the film The Forbidden Planet, the monster we fear most is us. Or as we also see in Walt Kelly's 1972 comic strip Pogo, when Pogo says, "We have met the monster and he is us." Okay, so what are we talking about here about the id monster? What's this id monster? What do we mean by this id monster? Okay, so when you quote, when you thought that we, Mr. speaking to Morbius, when you, Mr. Morbius, thought that we were threatening your little egomaniac empire, your neurotic pride, your narcissistic pride, your infantile megalomania, your His Majesty the baby. It's all about you. You're the center. When you thought that we were threatening your narcissism, your subconscious sent its id monster out. So the metaphor of the science fiction film is you got this guy Morbius on a planet. The planet is an independent, autonomous, uh, massive machine thing that's been around for 200,000 years, because that's when we developed the unconscious, when we became Homo sapiens. So that's why it's 200,000 years. So you got this planet. It's an autonomous, self-sustaining, massive machine thing, very powerful, um, meaning the unconscious is powerful. And you got Morbius, the guy there, was kind of like the little conscious ego, but he's narcissistic. He's narcissistic. When his narcissism was threatened, his unconscious, meaning the world, sent up these monsters to attack the visitors. So they were the id monsters. It's all a metaphor that there's no monster. It's all a metaphor that when you're reminded that your mother didn't meet your needs, you're enraged and you're angry and you might act out and shout at the person. That's your id monster. So if a person with narcissism doesn't get his supply, let's say, if he's not made the center of the attention, if he's not seen as important, okay, his verbal outburst called narcissistic rage, that's like the id monster. It's a metaphor for narcissistic injury, narcissistic rage. So you got this whole planet, you got a guy on it. Okay, when his narcissism, his pride was offended, the planet, the unconscious, sent up these monsters to attack the visitors who were questioning Mr. Morbius. And Morbius is kind of like Morpheus because it's his dream world, it's his unconscious world. So the id monsters just, it's an ode to psychoanalysis to call it that, right? It's just a tip off to psychoanalysis to call it that. So the forbidden planet is a symbol or metaphor for narcissism, neurotic pride, narcissistic pride, false pride, hubris pride. So he thought he was this amazing guy and all this. But when someone questioned his narcissism, um, in him might blurt out an angry comment. That's the id monster banging on the door in the film clip I saw. I couldn't see the whole film. There's only clips on YouTube. Is that it for the? So when they say, "Oh, the thing we're fearing is us, the monster is us," well, it's better to think of it in terms of when you're triggered and you're angry. The anger, that's your id monster. That's it. It's very simple like that. There's no external, independent monster like that. It's from the planet, you see. So that, yeah. So the id monster came from the machinery thing. Okay, so that's the Forbidden Planet, Three Faces of Eve. One about narcissism from the TV show, the Carol Burnett Show, Visit from Dan. So there's an expression that's popular back then, maybe it's still used once in a while, which is not being able to see beyond your nose, or to not see beyond the tip of your nose or the end of your nose. Okay, this means to think only about yourself and your immediate needs rather than about other people or wider and longer term issues. Quote from the Collins Dictionary, quote, time to act your age. You're too busy thinking about you and about everything to do with you, and you don't see beyond the end of your nose. Quote honored on from an old poet, onward still he goes, yet never looks forward further than his nose. Okay, from the Carol Burnett show. Okay, Dan, I know Carol Burnett played a character called Eunice. Eunice said to his mother, "You know, mother, Jesus Christ, my husband just dumped me for the waitress. My whole life is shattered, and there you sit taking center stage." And then Dan overhearing this, the visitor Dan overhearing this said, "Yeah, gee, and I thought my mother couldn't see past beyond her nose. Your mother's really stuck like this." So then the rage of the mother, that'd be the id monster, the shouting and all that. So the metaphor, go to planet Forbidden Planet, the monster came. So when the mother wasn't able to be seen as the center, she got enraged like that. Even in the situation when the daughter's life was devastated, when she got the phone call from the husband saying, "Look, I'm dumping you, dear wife. I'm gonna run off with the waitress to Mexico. It's my last chance for happiness. I'm not happy with you. I'm taking off. So long, and say goodbye to your miserable mother." Uh, and then she's crying and reported to the mother what she just heard. And the mother's reply was, he insulted me? He called me that? I can't believe it. What an ungrateful guy. And it made it all about her. She was the center stage. The mother twisted the conversation to make it about her. She's got to be the center. Neurotic pride, narcissistic pride. She's got to be the center. She always wants to, she's the baby who needs supply to be the center. Everyone's got to tend to her, see her. Don't ignore her. Got to tend to her like this. So, and the daughter said, "My God, my life is shattered here, mother. And and here you are, center stage." And the mother said, all right. Um, like I told you, mother knows best. I told you so. You did it again, mother. You're rubbing it in that you were right and I was wrong at this particular time. I'm grieving, I'm in pain here, and all I want to talk about is how you were right. So you made it all about you again. And Dan says, "Gee, and I thought my mother couldn't see past the end of her nose." So you imagine the tip of your nose, put a bubble around it, and that's all you care about with it like that. So, okay, that ad is silly, but it's not too offensive. Sort of a teenager, a silly teenager thing. That's okay. Oh yeah, back to the three faces of Eve. When Eve got the memory of the 5-year-old trauma, Otto Rank theorized that birth could be an engram for all subsequent anxiety. But in order to be cured, Rank thought that the neurotic would have to recover and have a positive abreaction of the pain of birth. So when Eve was screaming like that as a child, Rank, and Otto and Arthur Janoff was, well, that's the birth trauma, really. But they're not going to show you that in the film. They just showed you the 5-year-old trauma. So yes, it'd be very shocking for a child to suffer that, but it'd be amplified because the child's birth trauma would be traumatized on the dead mother scene. So now you got two things blended up, but it's mainly about the under the 5-year trauma. It's if a child were healthy, if a child were healthy, uh, he'd be uncomfortable and disturbed by it. But gee, mother, I wasn't very nice to you. But yeah, okay, whatever. Mother's dead, I get it. Grandmother's dead, I get it. But gee, I'm kind of freaked out. It'd be uncomfortable. But for her to scream like she's being ripped out of the uterus because she's about to die, um, there's a difference. Okay, and the ideology of narcissism is that the baby's one with the breast. The baby thinks the breast is a thing that he possesses, called part object relating. It belongs to him, it serves him, takes care of him. He's in a oneness place. So if there's a problem there, that's called trapped in the mirror. Narcissist looks at the pool of water and he's trapped in the mirror. That's all he sees. He's transfixed. He's trapped in the mirror. And that's quote. That image represents that they're going to go through life looking, seeing others as the missing breast who should see them and supply them. So people with narcissism regard everybody as symbolic breast to be siphoned dry. When it's finished, give me the next one. They're greedy like that. So they want to be fed, but not acknowledge the feeders as people. Because the baby thinks the breast is a thing that he owns and it's one with him, it's a part of him. So if someone's nice to them, they shrug their shoulders and say, well, of course, I'm entitled. Suppose it's my property, it's my thing. They don't see others as people because they can't see beyond the tip of their nose. Materially, they can say it, but not mean it. You know what I mean? So in narcissism, they didn't get enough love to get to differentiation, to get to person status. The baby's one with the breast. That's all he is, trapped in the mirror. It's all about him. He's the center. He's entitled. They make everything about him. They turn every conversation to make it about them, and so on. Another example like this was in the book called "It's Not You, It's Your Mother." The line there was about a woman had a baby, similar to this one, the Carol Burnett one. The woman had a baby, or she tried to have a baby. The baby didn't make it. It was a stillbirth. In a moment of weakness, this mother, very depressed, very sad to lose her baby, she called her mother and to report it. The baby didn't make it. You know what the mother on the phone said? Oh, now I don't have a grandchild. So she twisted it to make it about her, ignored the daughter's pain, and made it about her. Oh, there's that annoying ad again. Oh, but overall, it's a relief to have 99%. I would say a good 90% of these perverse, sick ads gone. It was there for like a long time. Well, I just hope it doesn't come back after end of Christmas. Jesus Christ. Play this song by Lynn Miles. Something beautiful. Show us some nature's ads. Show us some artistic ads. Show us some watercolor ads and put the name of a company on a fine. Show us something, make us feel good. It's an art form. It's a medium. It's a method. It's a medium of art communication. Have artists do these things. Don't have disturbed, um, um, trying very disturbed, very angry at characters in charge of that kind of thing. Robert Bly makes a big point about this. Yeah, absolutely. Read the Robert Bly quote from about a month ago about that. The analytic principle of the repetition compulsion dictates that we are compelled to hearken back to earlier fear and trembling to recreate a present edition of that which has traumatized us in the past. The neurotic is particularly prone to become entangled with individuals who resemble a rejecting parent or sadistic sibling out of the hope that somehow, this time around, one may triumph over the hurt and humiliation caused by one's nursery adversaries. Yeah, that's a bit of a blurry quote. It's sort of a both. It's sort of a yes and no. So the idea about mastering trauma doesn't work. Recreating the pain, that re-experiencing, recreating the pain, thinking you're trying to master it. Um, some one quote says that you got to be careful with this idea about recreating the pain, recreating disappointment. You might be addicted to the pain of the trauma, and you do it again um, because you're addicted. You do it again because you're addicted. So you might recreate things just simply because you're addicted to the brain chemistry of getting endorphins following the pain. Then you're addicted to the endorphins. To get the endorphins, you got to get the pain. So you recreate the pain of the past to get the endorphins. Now you're addicted. So now you're stuck in an addictive way. That's one part of it. The other part of the other part of it is just the re-experiencing, but you're not addicted. But you're just trying to know the trauma so you can move forward, kind of thing. Um, the other version of it is the fire of revenge theory. Should we do that now? How are we doing it? Exposure log. Let's see, what time is it. Oh, it's 5:40 here. Son of a gun. Yeah, I got a late start. I was bouncing around different venues to get here finally. Let me leave before the dinner crowd rushes in. They've been really nice to me. I don't want to interrupt anything here. Son of a gun. Okay, I guess let's just close it up here. Let's go back to let's pick a song to close up. Um, let's see. Yeah, the book is by Berglas and Roy Baumeister. These are interesting quotes here. I mentioned the three people in the elevator, right? Um, yeah, the gambling one, right? Jerry's father. He was a wealthy guy and all this, but he ignored his son, cold to his son, rebuffed his son. Go away, son. I want nothing to do with you. Through what must have been a torturous trial and error procedure, Jerry discovered that by getting into gambling related trouble, he could get the attention he yearned for from this man. Jerry learned to use self destructive gambling to incite his father's rage, which was followed by demonstrations of affection if Jerry expressed remorse and showed that he felt humiliated and defeated. Even though the attention Jerry obtained through this pattern of pyrrhic revenge was overtly negative, it was also psychologically rewarding. So to deliberately get punished by your father to get his attention, that's pyrrhic revenge. Make him angry, you're getting back at him, but your goal is to get some psychological attention from him. That's what they mean. There's a little confusing term here. And the other guy about the school, named Adam. Adam got himself expelled from these prep schools, a maliciously intended pattern of self defeat to hurt his father. Like the other guy, Jerry, this boy found a way to attack his father with a pattern of pyrrhic revenge targeted at the enterprise his father loved most, education. People who engage in pyrrhic revenge learn early in life either that they are not loved in a nurturing manner, or that those entrusted with the power to dispense love and affection have other priorities, such as a family business for Jerry and academic excellence for Adam. Armed with this awareness, self-saboteurs can identify their target's most sensitive concerns and and use self-inflicted harm. Okay, and use self-inflicted harm in a strategy designed to hurt whatever these flawed caregivers value most. So you want to get back at your rejecting parents. What do they love? What do they like? What's important to them? Hurt yourself in a way um, that attacks the things they love. Many shrinks interpret the actions of self saboteurs who engage in pyrrhic revenge as a pathological way of loving or of getting attention from people they need and are deeply involved with, but also hate. They deeply fear confirming that they are fundamentally unloved or unworthy of attention. When events reminiscent of childhood abandonment, such as a gruff dismissal or an actual rejection by a significant person, evoke their fears, self defeatists may use pyrrhic revenge tactics to establish a connectedness that wards off the terror of being alone. Simply stated, better to be cared for enough to warrant this type of actively hostile involvement, actually any involvement, than to be considered unworthy of concern. By destroying an aspect of themselves that their fathers valued dearly, okay, money and academic competence respectively, these self-saboteurs generated far more attention and involvement from their fathers than they could have through appropriate achievements. Jerry's father gave perfunctory recognition to him when he was working well and ignored him on all other occasions. If Adam could have put into words what motivated his fights when he returned to school, he might have said, quote, "Dad, you hurt me terribly um, by kicking me out of the house. Now you'll have to come way up here and care for me after I get into trouble and have the headmaster summon you to my side." Unquote. By sabotaging healthy goal attainment or actively inflicting self harms in ways that are immediately obvious to an ambivalently valued parent, the maliciously intended self defeatist assumes a powerless status. Quote, "See, Dad, I can't hurt you," and elevates the status of the parent. "See how powerful you are?" This process is thought to provide relief to the self defeatist by providing hope that the self inflicted punishment will finally evoke appropriate parenting, regardless of how miserably the parent has failed in the past. And a third one adolescent client developed a remarkably powerful pyrrhic revenge strategy that exploited the age old axiom of parenting that this hurts me more than it hurts you. Although he could not at first explain what the dynamics underlying this pyrrhic revenge strategy were, he soon recognized that one up, he had one up on his father. Stewart clearly derived a sense of glory from humiliating his presumably powerful father. What remained in his therapy was to help him develop self esteem from earning legitimate kudos in place of the type achieved through the twisted logic that said, well, I may be bad, but I'm better than he is, which must be good. Again, another one. Okay, referencing Eric Byrne here. Eric Byrne has a thing about this as well. Pyrrhic revenge can be an effective weapon and esteem enhancer for help rejecting complainers, or in the game Eric Byrne calls, quote, "Help me if you can, you bastard," unquote. That's the name of the game in Eric Byrne's book, The TA. He's got a list of games there. The games people play. One of the games people play is this one here. "Help me if you can, you bastard." Like the hate, right? This self-defeating style was first noted by therapists who felt manipulated and devalued by their clients, but it is now recognized among all maliciously intentioned self-defeatists who seek power and psychological gratification from making others fail. Yeah, so they okay. More specifically, in this form of pyrrhic revenge, self-saboteurs summon a caregiver, demonstrate a need for help, and then thwart that person's best efforts to help. So they want you to fail, right? Yeah, the shrinks. I've read this a few times. The shrinks interpret it. Um, you're determined to make me fail to help you, and you feel a pyrrhic revenge on me. You don't get better by this. Although such self-defeatists punish themselves and lose potential benefits by blocking the well-intentioned efforts of others, they gain a warped satisfaction from the realization that they have the power to render would-be caregivers who are presumably more powerful, impotent, and at times even embarrass and humiliate them. By enacting such a strategy of pyrrhic revenge, people can achieve psychological victory through defeat. Oh yeah, they quote Mr. Theodore Reich. That's his phrase. His version of it is called, "Oh yeah, they engage in victory through defeat." So that's when the boyfriend in the Nashville music show, Nashville, he was trying to defeat his ex-girlfriend by suffering to cause her to suffer if he suffered. So maybe there's still a symbiosis going on. Um, Burglar. They don't quote Burglar, but Burglar has a thing about this as well. Burglar says that if the mother's symbiotic with the son or the daughter, and the son wants to get revenge on the mother, the son might hurt himself if it means the mother's going to be in pain by it. And they push the issue where they want to force the mother away, push the mother away by hurting themselves. So one guy became an alcoholic and made himself sick and all this. The mother got sick. Oh, mother, you get sick when I get drunk? You really, this is going on? When you know that I'm drunk, it makes you sick? He drank more. Come on, more, more, more. He wanted to, quote unquote, get rid of his mother by hurting himself. That's pyrrhic revenge. So Burglar talks about pyrrhic revenge, but he doesn't use the word pyrrhic revenge in this sense. He calls it, what does he call it? He calls it psychic masochism. No, no, no. He calls it, what is it called? Let me look up. No, not that. There's another phrase. He's got another phrase for it. We have that quote. The mother said to the son, son, it disturbs me, and it really disturbs me badly when I see you drinking, getting drunk. I feel really sick like this. Oh, really? Is that true? Really? Oh, good, good. Gobble, gobble. Give me more, give me more. He tried to attack her by hurting himself, thinking it hurts the mother. So that example, I think we can use their phrase "fire revenge." He's willing to hurt himself and suffer himself to get some psychological satisfaction to get the mother to back off, kind of thing. So in Jerry's case, he would lose the family money because the father might get a heart attack or something, get enraged. And the Adam one, it's embarrassing the father because the school principal has to summon him to pick him up from all the naughtiness he's doing. So he's embarrassing the father. Now the father's embarrassed. He's got a good reputation. He's going to destroy the father's reputation if he gets in trouble. And the third one was the Stewart one was wow. For Stewart, the shrink said, "We got to help this guy here to develop legitimate self-esteem instead of the twisted logic that says, yeah, well, I may be bad and all that, but my father's worse than me. That means I'm better than him." Yeah, look at that, eh? Right. So Burglar calls it showing up the mother, showing them up or something. An extreme example of this is Judge of the Defense, the season one, episode one. There's a real psychopath like that. Judd sort of refers to this, where he wants to get back at his parents. So what he did was he transferred his parents onto society, the police, the judge system, the judicial system, the legal system, um, authority, the government. He wanted to show up and expose their incompetence, their failure. So he tried to find a way to get away with a crime, a really psychopathic, cruel crime. Did this double indemnity trick or something, um, to show up um, to get revenge at his parents. So transfer the parents onto society, get revenge on society, one to get revenge at um, his parents. It's all very Fyric because he gets caught. But Fyric, I showed them up. Well, he thought he can get away with it. That would have been the Fyric one. But Judd had to one step ahead of him or something. This double indemnity thing. Judd said, "You thought that, but you don't have it." Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. That first episode, that's a very just not a nice episode. Very sick, disturbed episode about a psychopath. But the judge said the psychopath is doing this because he wants to expose and show up society, his parents. The parents are the prototype of society. So he wants to show up society, expose society. Look how incompetent societies. Look how incompetent the police are, the judges are. Look how stupid they are, because he got away with the crime, right? You see how stupid they are. So that's code for uh, he wants to show up his parents. That's his motivation of why he did this awful thing. Is that a fire revenge? Yeah, that'd be a fire revenge, right? Because he had to suffer himself in that process to do that, right? He doesn't care about whatever harms on him. He wants a psychological feeling that he punished the authority on. Okay, so sometimes called um, he's sometimes called victory through defeat, or sometimes called the weapon of the weak. Um, so we can use these phrases to describe the unique substyle of maliciously intended behavior, which we call quote Pyrrhic revenge. So it's a specific it's it's a specific sub branch of the umbrella idea of self defeating behavior, like the fear of success, so you sabotage your success because you're loyal to the mother. That's one. That's a common one. Mainly, you're afraid to let you're afraid to be reminded that your mother didn't love you, so you stay dysfunctional because your mother wanted you to be dysfunctional to serve her. So you're afraid of autonomy. You're afraid of success because you feel you're betraying your mother. You're being disloyal to your mother. So there's guilt like that. So no, mother, I'm loyal to you. I didn't leave you. I'm going to save you. I'm going to make you happy. I'm going to fix you. I'm going to please you. I'm loyal to you. I need your attachment because maybe one day if I love you and fix you, you'll love me in return. So I can't leave you. I can't be autonomous because I'd abandon you. I can't abandon you. I'm loyal to you, mother. So I'll be dysfunctional because if I'm autonomous, that's leaving you. I can't leave you, mother, because you need me. And that's what the mother said to the baby. Baby, you with me or against me? You want to be autonomous, baby? I punish you, um, or withdraw my love if you try to be yourself. Okay, no, mother, fine, fine. I'll dance to your tune. I'll sacrifice myself. I won't individuate. I won't be happy. I won't have success. And good, good. So the mother wants supply. Remember, the mother wants supply. She's trapped in the mirror. She wants the baby to supply for her. So how does this person later on face this kind of thing? Because, well, you got to admit the truth that she did that kind of thing, that the mother didn't love the baby. Why didn't my mother love me, quote unquote? 20, go to TQ 20 and 22. Okay, when the first guest comes in, maybe I'll. Got such a nice. When this place is empty, it's great to come to. It's usually filled with groups and things. There's only like a 1 in 10 chance of it being empty like this. And it's only in the afternoon, like past 3 o'clock kind of thing. And sometimes the nights, yeah, don't get too busy here. Sometimes, well, later on it gets busier. Nice hotel. This great place. Really nice place. This is a newer hotel. This is my nicest venue. This is the most luxurious, nicest venue. This is a real treat. The coffee, high price for the coffee. Yeah, it was nice to see them reference Eric Byrne. Maybe we'll go back to Eric Byrne's book, The Games People Play. I could never fully get into his list of games people play. Uh, something was too jarring about it. But this quote here, help me if you can. You, I won't say it. Yeah, and that's another one about this fire revenge. The underpinning, the deep underpinning is, I'm no threat to you. You got all the power. I'm trying to show you I'm harmless to you. I'm giving you all the power. So that's the child saying, look, I'm helpless. When am I going to get mother's love, father's protection, father's guidance? Now the father can't love the way the mother's supposed to love, but the father can um, protect the child from the abuse of the mother. There's something from the father. Okay, let's pick a song and wrap it up here also. Let me return all this. All right, yeah, okay. All right. Oh, there's. Oh, now I feel comfortable. This is really nice when I can use this. Okay. Let me just take a breather here. How are we doing here? Exposure is locked. Okay. I just leave it like that, right? I have all these things like the recording buttons blinking, the time thing is this time thing is blinking. This exposure message is always blinking, or the square or this little sun symbol. Sign out. It's locked. No, if I do that, oh, I lose it. Oh, I see. Aha. That's how it works. Still there. Still working out the kinks to the camera. Okay, I feel like I've covered a fair bit of interesting quotes today. It's fun talking about the films, The Three Faces of Eve, and The Forbidden Planet. That's interesting that the Forbidden Planet, it's really a tip off to psychoanalysis, right? It's a metaphor of how we have an unconscious. Okay, when we're triggered, the unconscious, it's like, think about the id monster, kind of like in an analogous way, we can say your Freudian slips. If you blurt out some obnoxious thing to somebody you're saying, you didn't plan on saying it, you weren't thinking about saying it, but it just came out. Well, that's your id mon. That thing you said is the id monster. So they wildly exaggerate it with this big monster attacking the people like that. And another message of the film is we need to befriend our unconscious, have some kind of line of communication. If you blot out all the time, your own id monsters can hurt you, kind of thing, give you a sickness or psychosomatic symptom or dysfunctional relationships, or you say rude things to people with the Freudian slips. Um, or it can make you filled with so much pain. You gotta eat cookies all the time, or drink beer all the time, or smoke all the time. So you want to get to know your unconscious, right? And pick up the messages that Morpheus sends to you. Not Hermes. Sometimes Morpheus does the same thing that Hermes does. So he was called Morbius. Yeah, so he was called Morbius maybe to point out that we're meant to interpret our dreams. Unanalyzed dreams are like unopened letters. If your soul sends you a letter, don't you want to read it? Don't you want to open it and read it? Come on. That's John A. Sanford's big line, one of his big lines, the big emphasis. If your soul, okay, he says, like the unconscious, like the gods, right? If the gods, if Poseidon, personification of the energy of the id, Poseidon sends you a letter. Hey, you, here's a letter. A god sends you a letter. Don't you want to open it and read it? He says. You open it and it says, it's like this in your soul today, sir. Oh, thank you, Poseidon. It's like this in my soul today. Oh, you take that dream sequence and unpack it and try to use it as a prompt or a springboard to free associate by that. You free associate by that. What does this little message remind me of? What's it telling me? What's the unconscious telling me? Some kind of theme, some kind of pattern, some kind of setup in my psyche, trying to make me aware. It's trying to tell me my structure. It's telling me my defense mechanisms. What are my what's my wish fulfillment done in fantasy in my unconscious? What brings you back to homeostasis from my structure? So it tells you the structure. So often it's about letting you know what you're having a hard time feeling, because that's when you wake up, because you couldn't feel it. So you wake up like that. Oh, okay. So I'm trying to feel this such and such, and this feeling. Um, and in the unconscious, you got to keep in mind there's no time there. Things can condense and displace and flip flop and shapeshift and morph. So it's kind of coded like that. That's why you got to use it as a springboard to unpack it. What does this remind me of? What does this suggest to me? Just keep unpacking it like that. So your unconscious trying to help you. That's the Morpheus or the Hermes delivering the message to you. That's the duck. You got to live in these two worlds, unconscious, conscious. Make the unconscious conscious. You got to make it into your consciousness and accept into your conscious. And you need this looping around communication, the yin yang symbol. Okay, yang, yin yang. You need that line. You got to have the way. That's the way is the goal. That the Lao Tzu, the Tai Chi symbol. You want to be the unconscious conscious. It's a continuous process, kind of like summer, winter, day, night, okay, and so on. This kind of thing. You gotta have a. If it's you're fixed like that, no, forget about the unconscious. What's nonsense? Over with. Forget. Okay, get over it. Get over it. Get block. Okay, then it's gonna bottle up, and the id monsters might come out and wreck your life, kind of thing. The fight. This issue about the firework revenge. That's definitely an id monster. That's definitely an id monster. Uh, your burning desire to get back at your parents, um, and you're willing to even hurt yourself and not be happy if it means expressing some kind of anger at your parents, at not meeting your needs and all the anger about it. And you want to change them. You want them to change their ways. You want them to apologize. You want them to confess. You want some kind of amends. You want to repair somehow. It's a huge injustice what the parents did. So you're stuck like this. So if you don't get your parents a story and do the tasks mentioned earlier, okay, either or to both and. Seeds, divide the seeds. Free association, dream interpretation, someday business, Tuesday business, and so on. Um, and you can keep saying, get over it, get over it. Okay, well, then there's more of a compulsion to engage in something like firework victory or self-sabotaging your happiness to please your parents. Being dysfunctional, that's like a id monster, right? Like anything dysfunctional is really like that. Yeah, I'm a little tired at the moment. Yeah, actually, interesting lighting here at nighttime with the camera. That's pretty. The lighting on this camera is actually pretty sharp. Eh? Um, Okay, when I see people, I'll pack up and leave. Yeah. Well, still recording. Oh, still recording. So I was mentioning earlier, this was the regular phone I've been using. Um, Really great little phone. 7 years I've had it, I think. It's light as a feather, fits in your pocket. It's still like a simple, basic budget phone, but it worked really well. Suffered the elements, three continents, 1,200 videos. You know, um, no special cover, anything. Sand, wind, dust, drizzle, whatever. Great little phone. Amazing. This is what I missed it immensely. It's called the Honor 8S. They don't make these anymore. They don't make these anymore. I wanted to buy a secondhand one to keep using it. So as it stands, if I plug in the battery and plug in the speaker, maybe I can use it for music kind of thing. What I'm holding now is this big old clunker. It's like it's maybe at least double the thickness of this, and maybe 20% taller and wider. It's maybe at, at least twice as heavy, maybe even three times as heavy. This is like a feather. This has been great. They don't make these anymore. They don't make these anymore. Somebody called it a kid's phone. I don't care. This was a great phone. No one knows how to fix it or to get the parts kind of thing. It's been discontinued. But man, oh man, this was a great phone. The Honor 8S. These guys did a great job. So we'll see how this budget phone works. Does that building show up? Not really. Oh yeah, there's a that next door building. That's a quite a. I didn't realize that's quite a fancy. I saw the ads for this place. Very luxurious, nice place. There's the SkyTrain. This place is not right on the SkyTrain. You have to walk maybe a good maybe 10 minutes, about 10 minutes, roughly 10 minutes. It's a good location. It's a great little place. Yeah, Fairbairn championed the concept that there was no such thing as an objectless drive, and that all human motivation was geared toward making contact with needed objects. Again, the first object for the baby is the breast. Interpretations that are made in terms of object relationships are more effective than those made in terms of drives, as they relate directly to objects, past and present. So, life force is object seeking. Well, coming up, we've got some quotes about this Faustian idea. Here's the one about the lawyer. There's a lawyer guy. He's just an ordinary lawyer. Well, a wealthy lawyer. He had it all, right? Drove a Porsche. A wealthy guy. He gave it up. Quote, there is a time in every person's life when one needs to step back and take a survey of oneself, a course correction of your life journey. And I realized I could have a positive impact on the world simply by becoming the person I was meant to be. So rare, eh? So rare for somebody like a lawyer to step back and want to do something positive instead of just help pillage and plunder. And not all lawyers, obviously, but yeah. Okay, so there's two kinds of suffering, right? There's neurotic suffering, dysfunctional suffering, like engaging in pyrrhic revenge. That's neurotic suffering, which can go on for your whole life. following a repetition compulsion of misery. And this is a defense against another kind of suffering, the suffering necessary to become real. So in the ancient mythology, when the gods say, you're going to suffer now, when Poseidon says to Odysseus, you're going to suffer now, it's not punishment, it's not neurotic suffering. He's already engaged in neurotic suffering. He means like an authentic, positive, constructive, healing suffering, quote unquote suffering. It means the hard work of healing. It's not like a suffering in a negative, punishing way. So there's two kinds of suffering. This, the way you normally think about it, oh, he's suffering, oh yeah. But there's a painful healing kind of suffering that leads to emotional freedom. We need another word for that kind of working through, suffering through idea. They call it working through or suffering through. Suffering through might be a better phrase, yeah. Okay, just on the lighter side here from 2944 about the cat. Cats have been known to jump into water to rescue their kittens. In a publicized case of Scarlet, an alley cat, and this alley cat, this tomcat, this stray cat, this alley cat kept running into a burning building until she had rescued all of her kittens. She was burned doing it, but she still kept running in. While she was on fire, this cat, Scarlet, ran in to save her kittens. And she was burned badly, right? Somebody adopted Scarlet, helped her out and all this. And now she has, and now Scarlet has her own website. I haven't looked it up yet. Okay, let's see. Close up with a song. Oh, why don't we close up with our theme song? Our theme song to 1001 Windmills of the Mind is Katja Epstein's German cover of the song Windmills of the Mind. So let's play our theme song here. And when the theme song comes, I'll wrap it up when the song is finished. So here we go. Okay, Katja Epstein's German cover of Windmills of the Mind. Wait a second. Hold on, just a little second. Again. There we go. Windmills of the Mind.
Nachts, wenn die Straßen plötzlich still sind, wenn die Stadt auf einmal schweigt, wenn aus steinernen Kaminen stumm der Mond zum Himmel steigt, wenn es hier in meinem Zimmer leer und einsam wird um mich, such ich in den dunklen Schatten die Erinnerung an dich. Und ich fühle, wie ein Augenblick zur Ewigkeit gerinnt, wenn das Spinnrad meiner Träume längst zerrissene Fäden spinnt und sich leis zu drehen beginnt, wie sich Mühlen drehen im Wind. Und es kreisen die Gedanken, ohne Anfang, ohne Ziel, wie die schnellen Wellenringe, wenn ein Stein ins Wasser fiel, wie ein Kreisel, den die Peitsche übers Straßenpflaster treibt, wie Spiralen, die ein Adler in den Abendhimmel schreibt. Und ich fühle, wie ein Augenblick zur Ewigkeit gerinnt, wenn das Spinnrad meiner Träume längst zerrissene Fäden spinnt und sich leis zu drehen beginnt, wie sich Mühlen drehen im Wind. 1000 Fragen ohne Antwort, 1000 Fragen ohne Sinn. Warum flog für uns der Sommer wie ein Pfeil so schnell dahin? Hat der Herbstwind gar die Spuren unserer Liebe schon verweht? Wenn erst weiße Flocken fallen, ist es dann für uns zu spät. Sah ich eben nicht im Dunkel deinen Schatten an der Tür, hoffte für ein paar Sekunden, du kämst doch zurück zu mir. Doch warum sich selbst belügen? Längst ist meinem Herzen klar, dass der Pulsschlag dieser Hoffnung nur mein eigener Schatten war. Und ich fühle, wie der Augenblick zur Ewigkeit gerinnt, wenn das Spinnrad meiner Träume längst zerrissene Fäden spinnt und sich leis zu drehen beginnt, sich im Kreis zu drehen beginnt, wie sich Mühlen drehen im Wind, wie sich Mühlen drehen im Wind.
Okay, thanks very much. I'll see you in the next video where we'll pick up on Anne Teachworth's theory presented in her excellent self-help book entitled "Why We Pick the Mates We Do," and I'll see you in that next video. Thanks very much for the love of narrative medicine.